Raiders don't plan to sit back and watch tonight. They can run it with Joe Campbell, and they can snuff it with the middle of their defense. They'll need to do both. The Blue Raiders braved the storm to get here from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and tonight they have to brave another storm. The number 3 ranked Georgia Southern Eagles. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with former All-Pro wide receiver and an old pal, Gene Washington. And, Gene, I guess you have to talk about the weather here. Both teams, sure enough, have to play on the same field, and it is a very good field, but it's very tough conditions.
Barry, without a doubt, this is the best football field I've ever seen when it comes to dissipating the water. By all rights, this field should be inundated, underwater. There's not a puddle to be found out there. It's the best field I've seen since my days at Stanford. That's saying a lot.
In Georgia Southern, you're going to see perhaps the best triple option offense in the United States. They've been running it for years. They run it very well, and run is the operable word.
Barry, you know, most people, when it comes to option, they think quarterback. But in this system, it's the fullback who's the key. If the fullback runs well, has a good game, so will their offense. Joe Ross, number 36, last week he had an outstanding day, the best day of his career, 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. He can do it.
That's not too bad. He had 157 yards last year against Middle Tennessee, but the Blue Raiders still won it. They can run the football pretty well also.
But they would prefer to throw it. They would rather put the ball in the air. They'd like to throw it 30, 35 times. But with this weather, that's not likely. So they'll go to the ground. And when they go to the ground, they have a fellow who can tote the pigskin, so to speak, too. There he is, Joe Campbell. He's only 5'10", 170 pounds, but he's quick. And when he gets a football, boy, talk about lightning strike. He can strike in a hurry.
Well, you know, if there is any such thing as a team that is unbeatable, perhaps Georgia Southern is that here in Statesboro. They teed it up 31 times, and they've won it 30 times. But the man that beat them was Boots Donnelly.
Well, you know, the home winning streak that Georgia Southern has is phenomenal. But we're the only team that's ever beaten them here. They are going to lose again here sooner or later. And it hopefully will be Middle Tennessee that will beat them. They do have a great streak. That's, you know, it's a credit to Irk and his staff. But by and large, sometime it's got to come to an end, and hopefully it'll be Middle Tennessee that puts it to a stop.
And Boots sincerely hopes that it will be sooner rather than later. Still, about 10,000 brave souls to watch a football game on a Thursday night. ESPN's College Football Thursday, Middle Tennessee State versus Georgia Southern, is brought to you by Aetna, the insurance company that gives new meaning to the word diligent. By Yokohama, one of the world's largest tire manufacturers. And by Georgia Pacific, the building products that America asks for. So, amidst the rain and the wind and the awful conditions, the Blue Raiders tee it up with the Eagles when we come back. Barry Tompkins with Gene Washington, Middle Tennessee State. The Blue Raiders from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, against the Georgia Southern Eagles. The Eagles, a perennial powerhouse in Division I AA. This, Gene, a very good football team.
Barry, you know, the thing is, we can take a look at Coach Russell on the sideline. The thing about this game that is so amazing is that it's been raining all day. And look at that football field. I mean, it is incredible. And it's a happening here.
It really is a happening. The students, of course, have only been in school for one day. So needless to say, everybody's pumped up. And I'll tell you, everybody's here. These are some brave folks.
Lights for the first time. There were 1,000 people that came out to watch the lights go up.
I'll tell you a little bit about this field and how well it drains. There are 4 feet of rock and 4 feet of dirt beneath the sod here, and it drains beautifully. So I don't think that's going to be a problem, and I think the footing is going to be pretty good. To kick it off for Georgia Southern, Don Norton, and a triple safety setup for Middle Tennessee, the deep man, Orlando Crenshaw, number 4. Standing right now at about the 9-yard line. We're underway. High kick, fairly short. Crenshaw at the 15. To the 20, little gap, 25. Gets outside of the 30, 35. To the 40, out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. So the Blue Raiders have started things off in big fashion. Here's the way they will line up offensively. Phil Ironside, a lot of inexperience at quarterback. The running back quarterbacks, Joe Campbell, of whom Gene Washington spoke, and Wade Johnson, good blocker, and he can also carry the football. Donaldson, probably the best wide receiver, caught 8 balls last week in the loss to Western Kentucky. Along the offensive line, Mitchell and Henderson. Most of these players started a year ago, but still, despite the fact they have all played, there still is a lot of inexperience, a lot of underclassmen on the offensive line. Mike Gibson, perhaps the best of the lot at center, although he was a backup. Tracy Majors stayed home with an injury, and Melvin James, considered by the coaching staff to be the strongest member of anybody along the offensive line, is the tight end. And you will see them run him from a flex position. We have a problem right now with the clock, the stadium clock, and that's what this discussion is all about. They will flex Majors. That means they'll line him up, not quite split him, but line him up 3, 4, as many as 8 yards outside the tackle.
Barry, you know, I will be interested to see whether they come out and throw the football. I said at the top of the show they would like to throw it. The field is in good shape, so it shouldn't be any problem for the receivers. Let's see if they can go with their original game plan and put the ball in the air.
First snap out of the I formation. They give it to Campbell, the tailback. Slips by the first man. And we got problems right away. If you sit on the middle Tennessee side of the field, Georgia Southern has recovered. Bart Hughes was the man who knocked it out of the hands of Joe Campbell. So a big break for the Eagles on the first offensive snap.
Very traditionally in bad weather, you want to kick to the opponent because you feel that something might happen and you get a turnover just as it did here. Now you're playing on their side of the field. This ball comes loose. Barry, like, what is the record in fumbles for one game? Is it 23? 23, okay. The field is in good shape, but obviously it's wet. So this ball is going to be up in the air a lot. They're in a good shot right here, 34-yard line.
Goes the quarterback. This is Ross, the fullback. That's about 5 down to the 31-yard line. Georgia Southern, as we mentioned, they have this option down to a fine art. Raymond Gross, the quarterback, and he's the guy that has to make decisions on every play. Ross, the man who carried the ball a moment ago, as Gene mentioned, a key figure. These are what they call A-backs or slot backs. Carl Miller, Ernest Thompson. Thompson, a touchdown guy, and the 2 wideouts, neither of whom is very active, but both of whom have a great ability to get to the football and run with the football once they do. Ross, again, not much there across the 30, little over a yard. The offensive line for Georgia Southern, if there's a weak spot in this team, it might be this. John Wilson and George Jones will be the tackles. Brad Bernard and Sean Gainey, according to Eric Russell, his 2 best up front. And the center, Sammy Twiggs, plays center at 219 pounds. You don't find that very often.
But he's scrappy. He better be.
He better be scrappy. You'll see the same set all night long. 3rd down and 2. Gross checking off, and when he checks off, that only means one side or the other side. Gross keeps it this time. 1st down and more. 20, 15, 10, down to the 8-yard line. 23 yards for the quarterback, Raymond Gross. Jimmy McCamey, the saving tackle.
Barry, watch how Gross puts the ball in there. See, he's looking at that defensive man. If that man goes out and takes that flip man, he's going to cut inside. It's up to the quarterback. He rides that fullback. If the man pinches down, he keeps it and goes outside. If they stay outside, he'll give it to the fullback.
Eric Russell says that right now, Gross is getting to the point, as we have a problem with the clock again, so we may have a momentary timeout. No, I guess they're going to keep the time on the field. Gross is getting to the point that he is starting to run this offense with the same kind of proficiency that Tracy Ham did. I know that's saying a mouthful down here. This time they go out to the power I, and the pitch to the tailback. That is Ernest Thompson, and Thompson gets a yard. Mike Fairbanks, first man to it. There's Eric Russell. Russell really has become something of a legend here. As we look at the Middle Tennessee defense, they have a strange kind of alignment, especially in the terminology. They're down line to the guards, then the outside people to the tackles. Then they have 2 defensive ends, but the defensive ends are really safeties. Mike Fairbanks and Greg Pollard. The linebackers, only 2 of them, Anthony Coleman and Randy Horn. And 3 deep backs, the 2 corners, McCamey, who made that saving tackle a moment ago in Redmond. Marty Carter is the free safety and a key player for Middle Tennessee. He has to play well tonight. Pitch to Ross. Ross at the right side, inside the 5, close to the 3-yard line.
Barry, anytime you put the ball in the air, whether it's a pitch out or not, as wet as it is, you can see the moisture on the guy's arms and sleeves. Whenever you pitch that ball out, you run the risk of losing it. So I would think when they're down here, you know, they might want to think about handing that ball off, because once you get down here, you want to come away with some points. You know, you don't want to come away empty. You know, get a field goal. But don't pitch that ball out too much down here because they can very easily get him to go the other way.
By Erk Russell's own admission, a high-risk offense. Gross keeps, gets to the 1-yard line. He'll be short. And now it's decision time. So what do you do if you're Erk Russell, Jim?
Well, there are two ways to look at it. If you don't get it, you got it backed up, and you're probably going to get the ball back in good field position. You know, and if you go here and if you make it, well, they're going to they're going to decide by committee.
So we got a timeout in the field as Erk Russell, and you can see what the conditions are here. You're going to be seeing that all night. It appears that the Eagles may go for it, but we'll see. Early on, they may put the points up. We'll take a timeout, and so will Erk Russell. We'll be back to Statesboro after this. ESPN's College Football Thursday, Middle Tennessee State versus Georgia Southern is brought to you by Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan, and by Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products. Well, the Eagles have decided to put the points up, and I think that's probably a sound logic. Take the points early, especially in weather conditions that might get worse than they already are. Dallas will hit it at the 9-yard line. 19-yard effort from the left angle. He's their short kicker. David Kuhl is their deep kicker.
In this weather, it's not automatic. Look, you can see the rain along with the wind there.
And he's kicking into the wind, although it's a short kick, but it's a tricky wind. Not a gimme.
Oh, maybe they're trying to draw them off sides, Barry. They're not going to do it.
They're going to move it back 5 yards. Again,
get a better angle.
Logic.
They get a better angle.
Yeah, that is a tough angle. When you're kicking it from the 9-yard line, 19-yard effort, in a twisting kind of wind. It's a wind that's very hard to read. And in fact, another thing, unlike most stadiums, there are no telltales here. It's really hard to tell exactly which way the wind is blowing. That'll give you an idea which way the wind is blowing.
Well, one way to
South,
way to tell, Barry, is when you open your mouth and you get a drink of water, you know that it's coming at you.
That's right.
That's better than the gnats that they usually drink down here when they play their day games.
Erk Russell said that he would much rather have it be 100 degrees and full of gnats. And that is a fact down here. There's Erk. Erk's got 9 walk-ons on his team, and I asked him what that means, and he said bad recruiting. So Dallas to try it this time, 5 yards further back, and it is good. So Mike Dallas has made good on the first effort of the afternoon. 24-yard field goal, and the Georgia Southern Eagles have gone out on top of Middle Tennessee, taking advantage of that fumble, and they lead it 3-0. Well, the weather has played a part in this football game already. Joe Campbell on his first carry coughed it up, and 3 points was the result.
Barry, that record for fumbles is definitely in jeopardy tonight. 21 or whatever it is. It is in jeopardy. Because when you look at the field, it looks so pretty. You don't see any puddles. You think, hey, wait a minute, it's no problem. But it's raining out there. That ball will be slick. And Barry, field position becomes critical. Make the people play on their side of the field. And you have to think here that Georgia, they have the better defense. And that's Erk's specialty is defense. So, I think he really has advantage in weather like this.
Speaking of weather like this and speaking of jeopardy, we have a few of our own that could have been in some kind of jeopardy. There's what we mean. That was the tower that was going to have a camera on it. And in the interest of everyone concerned, we decided, no, I don't think we're going to be doing that tonight. And the happiest man in the place is the cameraman who's supposed to be up there. So we will try this again. Norton to kick it away. Kicking to Crenshaw. Crenshaw will be the deep man. You're looking at the 2 up men. Norton kicking into the teeth of this wind. Short kick. Crenshaw handles it at about the 13. 20 got a gap, but a fine tackle from behind by Tim Wilkerson. Excellent tackle trailing the play. Here's the way Georgia Southern lines up on the defensive end, and Erk Russell feels this may be his best defense ever. Charlie Waller and Patrick Parr, interchangeable parts. Outside, Steve Busolati and Giff Smith may be his best player, but a good one amongst many good ones. Shane Maxwell and Bart Hughes will be the outside linebackers, and here is a key player for Georgia Southern, Darrell Hendricks, and he is a good one in the middle. This time they go with split backs. Ironside to pass, has all day, airs it out, comebacker intercepted. Intercepted by Hendricks, the man of whom we just spoke. Hendricks still on his feet and down at the 23-yard line. 2 snaps, 2 turnovers.
Barry, Phil Ironside should never have thrown that ball. Whether it's wet or dry, he forced it. Bad pass, and the result is that they get an interception.
But they also may get a break. They may get an interference call. We'll see. There is a flag down at the 37-yard line, right about where the reception was made. And it may be interference. And it is. Tough break for Georgia Southern. Huge break for Middle Tennessee.
I think the Georgia Southern defensive back was just trying to stand up and grab them. We knew that Middle Tennessee wanted to throw the curl patterns, that they thought that that's what would be open because Georgia Southern tends to play soft. I'm not sure that that's from that angle, Barry, I question that call. But, they're down there, we're up here. We're looking through glass that has water on it.
It's also, as an old wide receiver, I'm sure you can appreciate, that was a catchable ball. This time the option, and they will run this too. Ironside keeps it, and he is met immediately by Gibbs Smith. Gain of about 2. Ironside, a guy not want to run the ball. As a matter of fact, Boots Donnelly said if he gains 10 yards, replay it.
The only reason they will run that option, Barry, is to get Campbell, to give him an opportunity to get outside. Because as you mentioned before, Phil Ironside, number 15, is not swift of foot. He's a good passer, but he will drop back and stay in the pocket.
Transfer from Tennessee, split backs again. Back to pass Ironside. Good protection. Oh! Fake. Airs it out deep. Man out in front. Donaldson can't get it. And you saw somebody else open.
I love that call. They ran the curl pattern, then they come back with the curl and go. And it was a great call. I think they could have called pass interference on that play. But they didn't. Receiver's always looking for passes.
Of course. Here's Boots Donnelly on the sideline.
See, Boots agrees with me. He says, hey, wait a minute. The guy grabbed him. He did grab him.
Rodney Oglesby was an All-American. Honorable mention All-American Division I AA as a freshman. Boone and Dixon will be the safeties. 2 good ones. In fact, I feel like I'm being redundant when I talk about the Georgia Southern defense, but they're all pretty darn good. Ironside in trouble. Smack down right on the line of scrimmage. And the Raiders will have to give it out. Steve Busolati with help from Charlie Waller.
Better that they should punt the ball away and make Georgia Southern play from their part of the field. Don't force it. He's already done that. Don't force it to turn it over and let them have a short field.
Field position, of course, very much a part of this football game, according to Donnelly. He dodged a bullet there with the interception. Now he'll kick it away, and he has a chance to bury Georgia Southern a little bit in their own territory. Oglesby will be the deep man. And the punter will be chucked in. Almost blocked. Line drive kick. Oglesby, fair catch at about the 17-yard line. And actually, that might have been one that he had a chance to return. It was a line drive, but I think the decision was probably made before that ball ever went up to fair catch it. 11:28 remaining, first period. Georgia Southern 3, Middle Tennessee nothing.
The spectacle, the sights, the sound. The fall colors are spectacular on ESPN's college football.
Touchdown, holy cow!
Which team will be known as the Beast of the East? This key battle could decide. Pittsburgh clashes with Syracuse on College Football Saturday, live on ESPN.
Well, when we went away, we said there were 11 minutes and change left in the first quarter, and we mentioned there has been a malfunction in the scoreboard, and that's been corrected now to 9:42. Eagles start at their own 17-yard line. This time they line up in a slot formation. That's something you won't see the Eagles do very much. They put Thompson in the slot to the right side, and they give the fullback, Ross, across the 20 to about the 22. Mike Fairbanks on the stop, but again, 5 yards on first down, Gene, and that's something that Middle Tennessee doesn't want to let happen.
No, Barry, that's what we call winning on first down. You know, this philosophy goes back, I think Don Shula, back when the Miami Dolphins were 17-0, sort of popularized the idea of winning on first down. What does it mean? What it means is that when you come up in second down and 4, second down and 5, now the defense has to play both run and pass.
They line up in a slot right again. Bring a man in motion. Give it to Ross this time. Not much for Ross as he gets to the 25-yard line. 2, maybe 3. Richard Kinley rather, on the stop. Kinley moving into a starting position for Boots Donnelly ahead of Jay Morrow in this game.
And when we talk about winning on first down, Georgia Southern has done that, right? I mean, they've averaged like 7 yards, I think, average on first down. It's really critical for them. They really concentrate on getting you on first down. And like I said, because on second down, second and short, or third and short, like this, 3rd and 1, perfect play action situation if it weren't for the rain.
They go out of the power eye on short yardage. They give it to the fullback, and I don't think he got it. Anthony Coleman made the stop on Ross, and Coleman stuck his nose in there right now. Help from Faulkner.
Well, I don't think they made it, Barry. No, they didn't. They sent out the punting team.
Now, when you talk about punting and you talk about Middle Tennessee, keep in mind this is a team that blocked 9 punts last year. They come after this one.
Oh, well, they could have thrown it. No, they didn't.
Well, the reason that they didn't was the ball hit the ground. It was a bad snap from center. And there is a flag, but I'll tell you, I'm not sure the flag is for roughing. It is, and it's going to be a first down. Shows you what I know, right?
Maybe he didn't see it bounce.
That's right.
Okay, let's see. Oh, you're right. I don't know that the officials saw the bounce.
Well, the call was offside, so I feel better. See that? I'm redeemed. Call was offside against Middle Tennessee. Nevertheless, it gives a first down to Georgia Southern. So a real break for the Eagles. They've had all the breaks so far. And again, they line up in a slot right. It's not Gross on the keeper. Turns the corner, gets across the 35. And once again, first down yardage, 5 yards, maybe 6 yards.
But Brian Faulkner had a shot on that play, Barry. He had a chance to make the tackle, actually for no gain. Number 58, 2-point stance, gets up 58. Now, you got to make that tackle. You got to wrap. You got to make that tackle. That's his job. Didn't get the job done. You know, you don't get many shots at a quarterback like this. And when you do, you got to get the job done.
Gross, 3 carries, 32 yards so far. He runs this option very well. Slot right once more. Thompson in the slot. It's time to give to the fullback. Breaks into the open, up to midfield, a little short of midfield at about the 49-yard line, and another first down for Georgia Southern. Marty Carter coming over from a safety spot to make the tackle.
Barry, another flag down, and in the area where usually you would have offensive holding.
That is exactly the call. So this one is for naught. Middle Tennessee so far being very aggressive defensively.
Middle Tennessee, though, Barry, they have to do something about stopping the run inside. Number 63, I think, is a guilty party. Let's see. Well, he gets out of our picture there. But, you know, Barry, to me, if Georgia Southern is going to beat me, I'm going to make them beat me doing something that they don't do well. If I have to bring 8 men to the line of scrimmage, I'm going to say, hey, folks, you're going to beat me, you're going to have to throw the football. You know, I would disrupt the rhythm that they have.
They throw it as a surprise element. It is not really what you consider a part of their arsenal. This time straight ahead, the fullback gets it up to the 35-yard line. Good example of it right there. Looking at a 2nd and 15. They run the option, no nonsense. They pick up about 8 yards.
Ross, Joe Ross, as I said in the opening to the show, is the key to the offense. If you don't stop him, the whole triple option works. He is the focal point. He is where it starts. So if he's going, I mean, they have everything to throw at you. So Middle Tennessee has to take away something, and they should start there.
7 carries, 27 yards. 3rd down and 5 now. This time it is Gross on a rollout, and nothing doing. He's stopped for no gain by Richard Kinley. A little bit of a different wrinkle there.
Well, what they want you to do, you know, when they get that triple option going, they want to counter because they want you to get your flow, get your momentum going one way, and then counter. That's just a little deal to keep you at home, to make sure you don't start to overplay certain situations.
So the Eagles will have to give it up, and again, a 10-man front is shown by the Blue Raiders. They rush 8th.
Oh!
No, acting, no flag, and they didn't get any of it, but they did force a short punt. So the Blue Raiders are going to be in good shape. I think once again the clock is misfunctioning off the 20-yard punt, so we can't tell you how much time remaining, but we'll be back. So the Blue Raiders take over, and Gene, we've been talking about first down and what you have to do on first down. The Eagles are doing it, and very simply said, the Blue Raiders are not so far.
No, and again, the key, if you win on first down, that's 4 yards or more. That's what we call winning. And I think they're going about 1 yard per game on first down.
They run the option and the pitch to Campbell, and he loses about 2 yards. Gibbs Smith just not letting him get outside. A real key for Georgia Southern. They have to keep contained to the inside.
When you have players, Barry, that are not only have good size but have good quickness, you're not going to make a living running laterally. You need to run at them. Here's a good shot of a player who's got good size and good quickness. 11 sacks last year. That tells you that he's very quick. You can't make a living running laterally against people who are quick on defense.
Look at the numbers on Gibbs Smith. 12 sacks. This time 1 setback and a wing back. Straight back to pass. Goes Ironside. Comebacker. Intercepted. And it is intercepted as right. I waited to see who had the ball. Kevin Whitley was the man who came away with it for the Eagles. 3 turnovers for the Blue Raiders. They are fortunate to trail by only 3.
See, Barry, Whitley was sitting there waiting. Middle Tennessee, they thought that they were going to go to this ball game and that Georgia Southern would play soft. Watch the defensive back in the right corner of your screen. Watch him tell me that he's playing soft. He's not going to play that soft. The quarterback telegraphs his pass. He comes back. He wants to make sure. Well, we'll get it a little later. I was all hot for that one, Barry. I had it.
You were on a roll, too. Ross at the right side got about 2.
Okay, now, Barry, watch the quarterback. Watch, he's going to telegraph. He's sitting up, sitting up. Well, we don't see the defensive back, but look where he is right there. See, he's not playing soft. That's not soft. You can't force that ball.
And the other side of that, too, and one of the things that Boots Donnelly wants Ironside to do, and that is look his receiver off, and he didn't do that. He locked in on him very early. Second down, a long 6. Gross kick this time at the 40. Cuts outside. 40, 35 down to the 31-yard line. Jamie Redmond runs him out, gain of 14, and he does run that option well, doesn't he?
Well, this is a good example of why this football team does not need to throw the ball very often. Watch the quarterback, he gives it to the fullback, and he's read. Now. See, he makes a decision, nobody there, he keeps it. If that man had come down on him, he makes the pitch. That's why it's a triple option. And this team runs it as well as any football team that I've seen in a long, long time.
5 carries, 48 yards. It's a different kind of triple option, as we mentioned. Look at those numbers. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Fullback Ross this time behind. Good blocking up front. Got about 3 when there was really nothing there. So credit the offensive line with getting off the ball well.
Barry, again, Middle Tennessee, to me, I mean, they need to do something to disrupt the flow that Georgia Southern has. You know, if you bring all your people up there, put them on the line of scrimmage. Say, look, you're not going to run the football. Make them put it in the air. Because, I mean, this team will run up and down the field on you if you just sit back and play your regular defense.
And that is an editorial statement in and of itself. As you see the rains continue to come. You look at the field, it doesn't look that bad. Second down and 6. This time the first pass by Gross. Throws underneath, wide open for the reception. Darrell Belser, a gain of 12. They don't throw it often, but they do throw it effectively.
And when you said wide open, I mean, he was wide open because the defensive back, and it's tough to keep him footing. The defensive back slipped down, and he was all by himself.
Belser just a sophomore. Matter of fact, with the exception of Donnie Allen, all the receivers are freshmen or sophomores, and there's a perfect match between running and passing. This time Gross keeps to the 5, close to the end zone, no signal yet. Stopped at about the 1-yard line. Gain of 13, first and goal.
Barry, it's going to be a long night.
I think it is.
I mean, you know, it's easier said than done, but you have to do something to slow down the run, to shut down the run. You know, see, what they're doing is they've taken one man and putting him on an island. They're saying, look, you take the quarterback and the pitchman. You can't take both. To me, you have to make this football team put the ball in the air.
They will run out of the power I with Thompson, the up back. This is Thompson, dives, touchdown Eagles.
Barry, you think So 28 straight here that they won at home, and the last team to beat them here was Middle Tennessee, right?
And they beat them last year. Try for point is up and good by Dallas. And the scoreboard tells us 6:21. I have an idea that might not be right, so we're not going to take that as official. As we take another look at Thompson, his 7th touchdown of the year. He had 22 touchdowns last year. He averages a touchdown every 4 times he touches the ball.
As they say, that ain't bad.
No, that's not bad.
But you know what, Barry? It's those hosses down front, the guys who are doing all that scoop blocking, who deserve an awful lot of credit. And Gene Upshaw said something to me once. He said, offensive linemen are like Paul Revere's horse. They do all the work and don't get any credit.
That's right. Only the jockey gets credit. And he's the jockey. As the rains continue to fall, we'll remind you, college football game day. Bob Carpenter, Bino Cook, and Lee Corso in our studios up in Bristol, telling you everything you need to know. That's at 11:30 Eastern. And then a full schedule of games beginning with Rutgers and Northwestern. Wayne Larrabee will be on hand to tell you all about that one. And then Syracuse and Pittsburgh. That one, of course, for bragging rights in the East. That's at 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, in the rain of Statesboro and the wind of Statesboro, actually the weather, Gene, hasn't degenerated anymore in the last couple of hours. It's bad, but it's no worse than it was.
And as the viewers can see, the field is it's remarkable how this field absorbs the water. So that's not that much of a problem. The problem is right now that offensive line and the quarterback for Georgia Southern. That's the problem. At least that's a problem in Middle Tennessee.
Yes, it is. 3:27 is the official time remaining in the first period. 10-0 Eagles. Pretty good kick this time, headed for Crenshaw at the 10. It's back to 15 to the 20, 25 and out of bounds at about the 27. Mark Giles makes the tackle.
There was a crush that there was a block that one of the players just got crushed on a block.
So Phil Ironside, in only his 4th start, comes on to see what he can do about stemming the flow here. Out of the I formation, Campbell the up back. Campbell right side, forget it. Coming up to play the force extremely well. Mike West from an outside linebacker spot. Well played defensively. They are very quick. In fact, Mike Ely, the defensive coordinator for Georgia Southern, said, we're not big, but we are quick, and they're showing it.
Well, you know, it's a cliche, but they have all the momentum, Barry, and the people coming up from the secondary making tackles. What Middle Tennessee must not do here is turn the ball over. They need to slow things down.
They go for the I formation again, run the option this time, and the first man through the fullback. That is Johnson. And Johnson got about 6 yards. Here's the way Georgia Southern did it. They did it right now. 6 plays, 49 yards. Took 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Thompson running it in from a yard out. And it was pretty.
You know, Barry, this Middle Tennessee team, they have 10 starters back from last year on offense. So this is a good ball club. The quarterback is the only starter who wasn't only player now who wasn't a starter last year.
3rd down, long 3 now for Ironside. Out of the I formation again. Give it to the fullback, Johnson. First down at the 40-yard line. Their first down. Gibbs Smith on the tackle defensively for Georgia Southern. Johnson, they consider to be pound for pound their best running back, but predominantly they are an offense that give the ball to the tailback and let the fullback block, but not this time.
Well, Barry, the surge of the offensive line here is what they need to have happen for another series or so. They need to develop some self-confidence. They need to take a little bit of that hype out of the defense and move the sticks, and if they need to punt it and get the other team back in full field position.
Go from the eye again. This time the option once more. And Ironside turns it upfield and is smacked by Mike West. 2 big plays on this drive by West.
Well, Phil, it will be much better off putting the ball in Joe Campbell's hands, number 21. That's the fellow they want to handle a football, not Phil Ironside. So if they're going to run that play, he's got to be thinking, get the ball out to Joe Campbell and get it out to him in a hurry.
It's interesting that they are running the triple option with putting the ball in the stomach of the fullback, even though they do it from a different set than Georgia Southern. In the past, they've only run a double option.
Well, why run something the team sees every day in practice? They see the triple option every day in practice, right? I mean, they do. So you're not going to fool them with that one.
Well, Ironside came to the line of scrimmage and saw something defensively that he didn't understand, so he calls a timeout. And as you can see, the weather conditions continue to be inclement as being kind. It's lousy is what it is. Blowing rain. And Hurricane Hugo, of course, which was expected to strike the East Coast, is now moving a little bit north of us, we understand. Take a look at the defense for Georgia Southern and the school records that they have accumulated. Rushing 101 yards a game. They pass 138 yards a game. They allow 239 yards a game and only 15 points a game. That was last year. This year, if anything, they're a little bit better than that. They've only given up 2 touchdowns in 3 games.
Against Florida A&M last week, Florida A&M's average starting position, field position, Barry, was the 21-yard line. Not starting. The average field position, the 21-yard line.
Yeah, they really disrupt you. I would imagine it's very difficult to play a team like Georgia Southern, particularly if you're on the defensive side of the ball. Because in this case, in most teams' case, actually, because there are only 3 teams in the country that run this kind of offense, you don't see it but once a year, and it's very tough to prepare them.
But Barry, I think you have to play it inside out. You have to stop the fullback first. That's where it all starts. You go inside out.
So second down and 2, and in trouble, and dropped way back at the 28-yard line by Darrell Hendricks as the quarterback. Phil Ironside, loss of 13.
Now, Barry, Georgia Southern is not much of a blitzing team, but they come on the blitz here. Here's the middle linebacker. That's Hendricks. He's coming on the blitz. They don't like to blitz, but maybe what they saw last week, Western Kentucky blitzed Middle Tennessee and did a good job, and they beat them. So maybe they saw something in the films, and they said, hey, we're going to take a shot, and that was the result.
They let Darrell Hendricks freelance a little bit, and he has been able to roam the field and do a lot of damage to the Middle Tennessee offense. Third and a whole bunch. Straight ahead, ball's loose, fumble. I believe Georgia Southern got it. They did. Turnover number 3. I said it was 3 a moment ago, but of course the 1 pass interception was called back for a penalty. Mike West was the man who recovered the fumble.
Well, when a defense gets excited, they make things happen. So you add an aggressive defense with a wet field, and you come up, they have the football on their own 30-yard line. You know, everything is going their way. I mean, it's like a fight, right? I mean, regardless of what the other guy do, the one person seems to be landing all the punches, and that's what's happening for Georgia Southern.
I tell you, if this is like a fight, they might want to stop it. They give to the fullback once more, Ross, and Ross gets about 3. Richard Kinley on the tackle for the Blue Raiders. Rawson Jr. out of Augusta. He put on 20 pounds between last year and this. And I believe this may be the end of the first quarter. I'm not sure. They're keeping the official time on the field, and it is. So we have come to the end of the first period. The scoreboard clock is still not functioning. And a look at the scoreboard shows Georgia Southern 10 and Middle Tennessee nothing. We'll be back. Larry Tompkins with Gene Washington in the reign of Statesboro, where the home team leads at 10-0, and they are doing everything right. And driving once more, 2nd and 8 at the 28. Fullback Ross again into the open, down inside the 20 to the 15. Marty Carter on the stop. Gain of 15, and they're getting it in big chunks.
And Barry, you know, I told you about those horses. Those horses that carry the Paul Reveres. Well, they're doing it for this football team. Number 51, fellow on your screen now, doing a good job of blocking.
This time the pitch for the first time to Thompson gets by the first man and a long way to gain 2. McCamey and Carter on the stop. Well, the story of the first quarter was entirely Georgia Southern. This is a book with only 1 chapter, and that chapter has been written by Irk Russell's Eagles of Georgia Southern. Gross, he's done exactly what he's had to do. 6 carries, 61 yards, 10-yard average, not too bad. Thompson, he's carried the ball a couple of times. He's gained 2 yards, but as is always the case, he has scored a touchdown. Middle Tennessee unable to do anything. Minus 6 yards of offense. The injured player for Georgia Southern is George Jones. And we, of course, will keep you posted on his condition. Ross gets the call again inside the 10-yard line. And Gene, it looks like they could run that play all day.
Well, Barry, I was making reference to that before. You have to disrupt the team's momentum if they're doing something and doing it well. Here, they give it to the fullback. He's getting great blocking up front from the center. Number 50, Sammy Twiggs. Sean Gainey, number 51. They're doing an outstanding job of blocking. So the defense, they need to do something. If it means bringing 8 people to the line of scrimmage, force them to put the ball in there.
So they will go now with their power I formation. Hughes in the ball game, who was really a linebacker, strictly in a blocking back role. They also bring Nottage in as a second tight end. Only time you'll see him run a tight end. Thompson dives to the 5-yard line, flag down. Lem Collins made the tackle, but let's see.
Game violation of the 25-second rule.
So he took too much time, did Raymond Gross. One of the few mistakes that Raymond Gross will make, period, let alone tonight. Trying to get an identity on the player who is down. It is Barry Benham, the injured Blue Raider. And we will have a momentary timeout. What's going on, says Boots Donnelly. Let's get it in gear. We'll be back. ESPN's College Football Thursday, Middle Tennessee State versus Georgia Southern, is brought to you by Isuzu, the first car builders of Japan. By Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Service, the better way to sell your home. And by Armor All Protective, because we're crazy about cars too. 13:46 remaining in the first half. Once more of the story, as it has been throughout this game, Georgia Southern and the triple option. Raymond Gross, the quarterback, now looking at a 3rd and 6. Not always a passing down. This time Gross keeps, turns it upfield, short of the first down, inside the 10 at the 9. Kinley, who has been very active defensively for the Blue Raiders, makes the stop.
Playing simply for the field goal there, Barry. Just, I think the coach said, look, just line it up. Let's get 3 points, get it in the middle of the field, and that's what he did.
Well, they put it up once today, whether they needed to or not.
26-yard attempt by Dallas.
26-yard effort by Dowis. Gets it pretty well and got it. So with 13 minutes left in the half, the Georgia Southern Eagles have stretched their lead to 13. It's the Eagles 13 and the Raiders nothing. 13-0 ball game, 13 minutes remaining in the half, a game that has been decidedly one-sided. Georgia Southern has done it all right offensively and has been opportunistic defensively, forcing 3 turnovers in the first 17 minutes. Norton to kick it off, and this time he'll be kicking with the wind. Crenshaw stands at the goal line. Short kick this time. Crenshaw comes up, can't handle it. Goes back, picks it up at the 10, starts crossfield in a whole lot of trouble. Down at the 13-yard line. Mike West, who has been all over the field on special teams and on defense for Georgia Southern, makes the stop. Here's Phil Ironside making his way onto the field. As you can see, here is what has befallen Middle Tennessee. Fumble, intercepted it, another fumble, and that's how it has resulted on the scoreboard. And there was yet another interception that was called back for a penalty. They go out of the I formation, Ironside the quarterback. Give it to Campbell, and there's nothing doing at the right side. Campbell got maybe 2 yards, and that's being generous. Kevin Whitley on the stop. Look at Kevin Whitley, sophomore from Decatur, Georgia. Most of the athletes on this Georgia Southern team not far from Statesboro. Quick count this time, and to give again to Campbell on a little bit of delay, kind of a sprint draw that time, and about 2 more before Darrell Hendricks and Patrick Carr run him down.
Middle Tennessee, Barry, seemingly wanting to play conservative and try to get the ball out of their area. And if they're going to do that, this is an obvious passing situation coming up as we watch this replay here. Number 43 coming up, steps up, makes a good tackle.
It's Darrell Hendricks, and Hendricks and West have really done a job for Georgia Southern. It's a passing situation, 3rd and 6. Georgia Southern just plays straight up in your face defensive football. They rarely blitz, and they don't this time either. Screen pass this time for Campbell. Campbell turns it upfield, close to the first down at about the 24-yard line. I believe he got it. Taz Dixon on the stop.
Conservative play, drop back, little screen play, not taking any chances. The quarterback knows that if he can't get the ball to the back on the screen, then he's just going to throw it away. But they just need to have some positive things happen. You know, if they can go in here, Barry, you know, you have to start thinking about going in at halftime and being in the ball game, because psychologically everything is going the way of Georgia Southern. They need to have some positive things happen. Get the ball back down there, make them go the whole length of the field. Momentum, you know, it's a tired phrase, but it's so important. Momentum and field position.
And the simple fact is they're not by any means out of this ball game. Even though they've been outplayed on both sides of the ball so far, it's only 13-0. They score a touchdown. And they're right there. Campbell slips and falls trying to cut it back. He's an excellent cutback runner. And as good as this field holds the water, it's still got to be a little problem.
But that's one of the few times that we've seen a player slip. This field is in very good shape, considering the downpour that we've had here all day long.
So Campbell comes out. 6 carries, -1 yard for Campbell. They said he had to touch the ball 25 times, but I think they had better results in mind when they said that. Martin is in at the tailback spot now. Ironside screen pass. In trouble. I don't know if they're going to call that a completion. They may call that an incomplete pass. I believe it's an incomplete pass, and that is what the call is.
He never had control of the football.
Let's take a high-angle view. You'll see that the running back on this play, as he wants to accept the ball, really never has control. Never had control of the ball, although he was aided a bit by a Georgia Southern player, sort of knocked it out of his hands. But I think the rule is that you need possession for the football and take one step in action, they call it. And then that wasn't the case there.
Shane Maxwell, the man who made the defensive play. So 3rd and long again for Middle Tennessee, and the rain has picked up a little bit here. Ironside this time throws deep, caught by Donaldson. First down at the 35-yard line. Gain of 12.
Again, that's the play that Middle Tennessee wants, that curl pattern. This time, Georgia Southern is playing back. They're playing a little soft. They decide to give them this and throws the ball with a little more authority here. You know, in slow motion, it looks like a dying duck, but that was a good pass. Stepped up, threw the ball, put a little authority on it, and they come up with the reception. But he can't force it. He had it that time. But, you know, he can't come back and force that ball. If that defensive back is sitting there, throw it out of bounds.
So they've converted a couple of 3rd and longs on this drive. Maybe a confidence builder for Phil Ironside. Ironside play fake. He'll go up on 1st down, this time to the corner and a one-hopper. He intended that time for Derwin Brewer. Ironside 2 of 6 for 19 yards with the 1 interception.
Georgia Southern is a good defensive club. Watching the top middle of your screen. He's going to stay in that little short zone there, so they don't really have much. Good job of pass coverage. Wasn't much there. In that case, I'll take that. Throw the ball where only your man can get it. If he can't get it, nobody gets it.
Slot left this time. Straight back Ironside. Throws for the corner. Intended for Donaldson. Underthrew that one a little bit, and I think that might have been one that got the nose of the football up in the wind.
Yeah. Phil will need to occasionally, Barry, just to slow down the pass rush. They're going to need to come back and run some draw plays just to try to slow down the pass rush a little bit, because they can't make a living just dropping back against this defensive club.
10 minutes left in the half, we are told. Once again, the stadium clock has not been accurate all night. It's been on again, off again. And for Boots Donnelly, a long and wet evening so far. Play fake. Underneath for Donaldson, who was surrounded. And that's probably the best place he could have thrown it. Once again, Ironside obviously showing a lot of inexperience there.
Yeah. And Barry, on this play, you know, they went play action, but play action's not going to fool anybody here. They're looking pass all the way. We get a good shot of the coverage. Look, the safety coming in. See, there was nothing there. Nothing there. Good job of pass coverage on the part of Georgia Southern.
And another case of the safety reading the quarterback's eyes and him not looking the man off. So Coming on to do the punting now for Middle Tennessee, Chuck Daniel. And he'll be kicking to Oglesby. A 46-yarder his first effort. This one a little bit shorter into the wind, and Oglesby fair catch at the 37-yard line. So Georgia Southern will have good field position once again. There's a Georgia Southern player down. And we will tell you who that is in a moment. It has been quite a history, albeit a short history, for Georgia Southern since Erk Russell came here. The winningest 1AA program in the last 5 years. Look at that, 55 wins. Eastern Kentucky, again a powerhouse this year, with 46, and Furman, the national champions, with 45 wins. Idaho, we're going to be up in Moscow, Idaho, next week for that game between Idaho and Montana. But Georgia Southern, under Erk Russell, 9 wins more than anybody else in 1AA football in the last 5 years.
And Barry, what Georgia Southern is doing to Middle Tennessee here, they've done all along. If you look at the way they've scored, so far this year, they've outscored their opponents in the first quarter by 31 points for Georgia Southern, 3 for the opposition. Go to the second quarter, they have 31, the opposition nothing. So, I mean, this is in keeping with the way they play football. Good, solid defense, and they run that triple option at you.
62-3, that's not bad. It's 13-0 tonight. Eugene Hayes is the injured player. And while they look him over, we will jump off the track. 9:48 left and a half. 13-0 Eagles. Eugene Hayes, the injured player, being tended to on the bench. And we, of course, will keep you posted. Looks like an ankle injury of some sort. This does not look too positive. We will try to let you know exactly what his condition is. Back in the ballgame, as you see, George Jones, who went out with an injury. Senior tackle, 3-year backup, now getting the playing time, and he in large part accounting for the 6.2-yard rushing average so far today, and no change on that play as Joe Ross gets about 6.
Got to have those hosses up front. Jones, as we just saw, number 66, number 51, Sean Gainey, the center. They do an outstanding job of blocking. And they do it especially against this Middle Tennessee team because, Barry, they do a lot of slanting. Not an easy team to block against.
Yeah, they move at the snap of the ball. You know, another thing that I think is very interesting as the discussion goes on with the officials, and I don't know, I've never seen this before. I don't know if you have. They only have one snap count. They come to the line of scrimmage, they may as well just say hike. They're no secret. Same snap count every time they come to the line of scrimmage because their coaching staff just feels they can execute better if they know what's coming and they just get as many repetitions as they can. And they still get off the ball faster than anybody else.
Well, what they want to beat you with is the triple option. Their philosophy is we're not going to beat you with the snap count. We don't care if you know what that is. We want to beat you on the option. And with a quarterback like they have, they outclass a lot of people.
I really like Erk Russell's attitude. He says, the more simple we keep it, the easier it is for our players to understand. And that's not degrading his players. He just has that attitude. Give it to the fullback, Ross again. Ross this time for a first down and more inside the midfield stripe to the 48. Coleman and Carter, but they were late.
Number 52, the left guard, Brad Bernard. Watch this block. Right up there, good block. Follows up. No one touches him until he's about 4 yards downfield. You know, the running back comes back to the huddle. He says, thanks, guys. The men up front, they control that line of scrimmage. That's where it all starts.
Now here's Gross checking off, and as you mentioned, they only have one check off, and that's change the side from one side to the other because they do the same thing every time. Gross gets 10. A little short of the first down. Marty Carter very frustrated, and it's been a frustrating night so far for the Blue Raiders.
To show you how well they run that option, number 36, Joe Ross gets tackled on this play. He even fooled me. See if you can see it. Number 36. Watch, they're going to come in and tackle it. Look, tackle it. The quarterback's got the ball around the corner. They do an excellent job. He puts it in and he rides, and then pulls it out right at the last minute.
7 carries, 70 yards for Gross, and like numbers for Joe Ross. Give it to the fullback, Ross, and Ross gets it to the 35. I was wrong, incidentally. That previous play was enough for a first down.
You know, Barry, what they'll do, that's got a little problem here. Joe's limping off the field. That's Joe Ross.
And again, looks like he might have turned an ankle or something, and he is in some pain. So Ross will leave, and he will be replaced by Willando Ficklin, just a freshman, a first-year freshman. Gross throws, almost intercepted. Mike Fairbanks got a hand on it. Ball was a little underthrown by Gross.
They don't put it up that often, but he has a pretty good arm. I like the way he throws. He gets outside here on the rollout. And as you'll see, number 24 from Middle Tennessee gets a hand on this ball. Right there. Ooh. Hit him in the wrong spot.
That's right.
Hit him in the wrong spot. Watch this. Watch this. Hits him in the wrong spot. No, don't hit my hands. But it's wet. It's wet.
Almost nearly. Not quite hardly. Third down and 10. Gross rolls out. That's a live ball.
Now they consider that a pass because it's forward, huh?
You're right. That's right. I apologize. I did say it was a live ball. It's not.
But for a minute I thought that it was a fumble, but that was a planned play. That's the old shovel play.
A lot of teams using that play these days.
Watch the action here. As long as that ball goes forward, that's the same as a pass. You see, if that ball falls to the ground, that's an incompleted pass.
Caught that ball. Long field goal try on its way and very short and off to the right. Never did really get under that. That was David Kuhl. As we mentioned, they have a long place kicker and a short place kicker. The short place kicker is Dowis. Long place kicker is Kuhl. And Kuhl was short.
But Barry, you know, it's kind of interesting on the latter part of that drive. They went away from what they were doing that was successful. All of a sudden, they start passing the ball. They're rolling out. They did it on consecutive plays, and they really didn't move the football. I wonder why did they go away from their game plan that was working so well?
It was consistent with Ross going out of the ball game and Ficklin coming in, true freshman, at the fullback spot. And they put it up twice in a row. So Middle Tennessee takes over at the 32, still trailing only 13-0. And the option with Ironside being stripped for the ball, and there's another turnover as Georgia Southern's Michael Berry has come away with it.
Coming down the line, Ironside he just loses the ball, Barry. I don't even think it was knocked out of his hands. You know, I think what happens, though, you know, if things start to go wrong, you start thinking about things. You know, you start thinking, what's going to happen next? And invariably, it happens. You know, I think the football team, Middle Tennessee is thinking too much about what's going wrong.
Ross is back at fullback now. And Gross keeps it, and for the first time, the Blue Raiders managed to contain Ross in the backfield. Randy Horn coming up from his linebacker spot. That is the first time all day they've stopped Gross.
Again, Barry, if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm going to make Georgia Southern put the ball in the air. I'm not going to let them beat me on the ground. You know, I will invite you to throw the football.
Give this time to Ross. Ross into the open again. Gets it inside. Fumble, and let's see. Middle Tennessee says they have it. No sign yet. Yes, they do. So they get it back, and let's see if that doesn't light a fire under the Blue Raiders. Take another look at it. Ross was in the open.
Really in the open. Oh, gets his shoulder right on the football. Maybe this is the break that Middle Tennessee needs to get the thing turned around a little bit.
And once again, we will tell you the scoreboard clock is not functioning, so frankly, we have no idea how much time is left in the first half. Pitch this time to Campbell. Campbell at the left side. Got the kickout block, but again, great pursuit by the Georgia Southern defense. Darrell Hendricks having an excellent game defensively.
You know, again, when you're playing against good athletes, it's tough to make a living running wide because they pursue so well. Number 43, look, reads, inside out. Gets out there. Look at all those dark colors around the jersey. It's tough to make a living running wide. They'll just stretch it out and make you run to the sideline.
I'll tell you what they've done to Campbell today. 7 carries, -1 yard. Here's the option again, the pitch to Campbell, and he did well just to control it. Got about 2 yards knocked out of bounds by Oglesby and Taz Dixon.
You were exactly right when you said he did a good job of just holding on to it.
Watch the pursuit.
Hendrick, inside out, forces the pitch. Now the other man should come up.
Hendricks having an excellent game. So is Mike West. They let Hendricks freelance a little bit. One of the things that Woods Donnelly said was, we've got to be able to block their tackles and their middle linebacker. Well, they may be doing an adequate job on the tackles, but they're not doing anything with the middle linebacker. Right side the pass. Screen for Campbell. In the middle of the screen was West. He turned Campbell inside and thus turned the play inside. Giff Smith eventually made the tackle, but the guy who turned it in was Mike West. And so Middle Tennessee will have to give it up again in the rain of Paulson Stadium in Statesboro. And once again, the Eagles were almost assured of good field position. Oglesby stands at the 47-yard line to receive Daniel's kick. Eagles show a 10-man front here.
Oh, they were all over that one.
A line drive takes a good hop for the Raiders. And it will be dead at the 42-yard line, so not bad field position for Georgia Southern. 36-yard punt, and he did well to get that much out of it. Well, we'll remind you that coming up at halftime, we'll give you an update on the weather. And the weather, of course, is really a big story on this sports night. Take a look at Erk Russell, one of the more interesting people. Described him as kind of a cross between Don Rickles, Will Rogers, and Bear Bryant. And we'll take a look at what the middle linebackers have done in this football game. And what they have done is yeoman's duty so far. Gross this time, pitch back, pitch the ball a little bit behind Thompson, and Thompson is hit for a loss of about 3. Mike Fairbanks on the stop.
Quarterback, watch that read. He puts the ball in there. He reads. The man comes to him. He flips it outside. Nice job of handwork there.
That is the first minus yardage offensive situation that Georgia Southern's had tonight. That'll tell you how well they've gone. But even so, they only lead by 13. Give it to Ross this time at the left side. And suddenly the Blue Raider defense has got a little bit tougher, Jim.
Well, you know, Barry, the surprising thing is that, you know, the score, 13-0, it really is, in my opinion, more lopsided than that. I mean, I think they're fortunate that the score is only 13-0. So if they can, in fact, hold them here and go in at halftime with this score, I think that Middle Tennessee would have to feel fortunate.
I don't think there's any question about that. Right now, the defense is stiffening just a little bit. 3rd down and 8 now. And once again, we mentioned that a 3rd and long situation like this is not necessarily a passing down. Gross this time keeps it, turns it upfield, stops short of the first down at the 48-yard line, and the Raiders will get it back. Marty Carter makes the stop. Good sequence defensively for Middle Tennessee.
Well, they seem to be getting more into the flow. They seem to be forcing the quarterback. You play it inside out. Play it inside out. So when he comes up there, now they knew they had some room to play with on this play.
They come after this one. Up the middle, didn't get it. Twisting kick. Headed for the sideline and out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. 33-yard punt. And they do play havoc with your punter, I'll tell you that.
Because you think about it. You know they do a good job of it, so you're thinking about it. Where are they going to come from? Where are they going to come from? You're thinking more about that than kicking the ball, and then you shank one.
Well, a show that I think really worthy of checking out this Sunday, the NFL Dream Season. I don't know if you've seen that, Gene, but it's most entertaining. This Sunday, the 1976 Oakland Raiders with John Madden, the head coach, take on the 1969 Kansas City Chiefs. That was a team that was, of course, coached by Hank Stram, quarterbacked by my pal Len Dawson. I don't know who I like it now. Out of the I formation. And they give it to the tailback, and I'll tell you, Campbell has got nothing all night long. 2 minutes and 45 seconds is the official time that we get remaining in the first half. Campbell got a yard. Might get him back to net 0 for the night. Fumble from the snap from center, and Ironside dives on it, but in the process burns it down. It'll be 3rd down at about 11.
Barry, the wind is really picking up here. And if Middle Tennessee wants to throw the football, it looks like they would be throwing it right into the wind. So that kind of takes that away from them.
You can see the way the wind is blowing now up the top of your screen. Take a look.
As you can see, the field obviously very wet. Football hard to handle. But you know, with that wind, 2:45 left, with that wind coming right at you, it really handicaps their offense here.
go out of the I formation. Draw play this time for Campbell. Campbell stutter steps across the 20 to the 21. Got about 3 back, but still 9 yards short of the first down, and the Blue Raiders will have to give it up. Bart Hughes and Giff Smith, and it was Ricky Martin, I beg your pardon, not Campbell, the ball carrier that time. Martin, the junior out of Lyerly, Georgia, coming on to spell Campbell, who was at a very tough night. Timeout on the field, 13-0, Eagles. We'll be back. Chuck Daniel, who has been perhaps the busiest Blue Raider so far tonight, will kick it away, as you see, averaging 36 and change. And he will be kicking into the wind, and that is not an easy task. And Oglesby, who can bring it, but the Eagles have been wont to try a return. They've fair caught every Blue Raider punt. Line drive kick, and Oglesby will just let it go.
I think if it touched one of the Middle Tennessee players.
I believe it did, and it's going to be only a 23-yard kick. They're going to bring it back to the 45-yard line. Well, more football coming your way this weekend on ESPN. Let's take a look at this punt once more.
They went for it. They went for it. It's going to hit. It's going to hit one of the right there. Hit him in the knee, right in the shin. And that's where they marked the ball at.
Good call, right at the 45-yard line. Will cost them 15 yards. That not really an error because he didn't know where the ball was coming. Out of the backfield this time, Thompson, incomplete. Well, Boots Donnelly said that we got to stop them on 1st and 2nd down and force them to put the ball in the air, something you feel that they have to do, and that's certainly a fact, but it is also a fact that they've not been able to stop them on 1st and 2nd down, and that's been the story of the game.
And the credit, Barry, goes to the offensive line of Georgia Southern. The center and the 2 guards, that's where it all starts, right there in the middle, and they've done a very good job of controlling the line of scrimmage.
So 2nd down and 10. Gross this time. Keeps it, cuts it back to the 40. Gets 45, 30. Cuts back inside 25 to about the 22-yard line. How do you like that one?
That's a beautiful run.
21 yards.
Okay, he's going to see the man come inside right here and then look. Cut on a dime, leave a little change. In college football, you can go against the grain. In professional football, you don't do that. But in college football, if you go against that grain, you can get some big runs. Big runs. Because people don't pursue as well.
You touched on it earlier, too. The defense of the Blue Raiders is a slanting kind of defense. The snap of the ball, they slant one way or another, and he just got them all going that way, took it back against the grain. And he will come and talk it over with the Brain Trust, and we'll remind you once more at halftime. We'll tell you all about the weather, and the weather prospects here in Statesboro, believe it or not, Gene, are getting better. We expect the rain to actually stop sometime in the next half hour. It will still be windy, but the rain may let up, believe it or not. And we'll tell you all about a most interesting guy, Erk Russell, the head coach here. Formerly, of course, at Georgia, defensive coordinator at Georgia for 17 years. Minute and 4 seconds remaining in the first half, and the winningest active 1AA coach. Over 80%. First year, when he started the program up with nothing but walk-ons, he was 7-4. That really says something. Well, the Eagles would like to put a little bit more on the board if they can. They give it to the fullback, Ross. Steps over the first man, down about the 16.
Gross is trying to get his players to hurry up. He wants to get another play off without taking a timeout.
And again, we tell you the clock is misfunctioning. We know there's inside of 1 minute to play, but we can't tell you how much. Gross this time airs it out, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver.
Terrence Sorrell. Yeah, Gross is a little upset because he can't throw it much better than that.
Right between the 8 and the 8.
And last week, Terrell came up with a big play, a 60-yard touchdown. Watch, he's trying to cradle it. Watch, Barry. He's going to look at him. He's trying to cradle. Whoop. See, it's wet. Goes, just skips right off there, hit him right in the chest.
Yeah, that's one that you can really attribute to the weather here. 48 seconds, we get the word remaining in the first half. And the clock, of course, is stopped. 3rd down and 4. Slot right this time, as they put Allen in the slot and straight ahead inside the 15 to the 14, short of the first down. It will bring about the presence of the field goal team.
Well, Gross is upset here, Barry, because he thought he had a chance to get the ball into the end zone. If they catch that pass, they do. So once that happened, then they just said, okay, let's just settle for the field goal, run the ball, line it up, and we'll kick it and take 3 points.
Mike Dowis to try it from the 21, a 31-yard effort with the wind at his back. And I don't know. Might have shanked it. No, he got it. Wasn't pretty, but it does count. And that actually is a fairly big 3 points, because it puts them in a situation where Middle Tennessee has to score 3 times. It's 16-0 with about 40 seconds remaining in the half. Yeah, that takes you back, doesn't it? That's our producer, director. And as you can see, there's a great spirit here. What hurricane? We're still doing that eagle thing. And with that, the half apparently has come to an end. Either that or we're going to play it with you and I. So the clock is malfunctioning, the half is over, and the Eagles are doing it all right. We'll be back.
Okay, thanks very much, Barry and Gene. We'll get back to you for the second half. Both teams battling that common opponent of the element. Georgia Southern handling things pretty well. Just 1 turnover in the first half. Not bad considering they run the triple option offense. When we continue at halftime, we'll update you on the location of Hurricane Hugo, also the baseball scores, and an update on Irk Russell when we continue. Georgia Southern 16-0 over Middle Tennessee State at halftime.
Tonight's halftime report is brought to you by the Coca-Cola Company and your local Coca-Cola bottler.
The rainy weather tonight in Statesboro, the early effects of Hurricane Hugo. Now, the hurricane has already caused the postponement of 1 game this Saturday, the Pride Bowl, a charity game in Newark, New Jersey between Wagner and Davidson. Davidson not be able to get out of their home in North Carolina tomorrow. They're not going to be able to get to New Jersey. The game was scheduled for Saturday. It'll now be played on Sunday. Now, Hugo's winds now 135 miles an hour. This is being called the worst hurricane to threaten the Georgia and South Carolina coast in this century. For an update on Hugo's latest position, we go to John Hope of the Weather Channel.
There you can see the eye of the hurricane. Now, it continues to move toward the northwest at just about 20 miles an hour. We haven't seen an awful lot of change in that. The Hurricane Center has been forecasting it perhaps to turn a little bit more and go toward the northwest. We haven't really seen it start to do that yet. What we see is a continuous path toward the northwest, and it's now centered just about 125 miles southeast of Charleston, South Carolina. Let's look at this action radar, too, now. And as we look at the action radar, you can certainly see the eye moving again toward the northwest at about 20 miles an hour. Now, there's a couple unfortunate things, I think, about this hurricane. Not only is it a very powerful hurricane, it's a very solid Category 4 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, but it looks very much as if it's going to come into this area of the South Carolina coast somewhere near the time of high tide. And that means that whatever storm surge is generated, and we think it might be up to 17 feet, will be added to what is already a high astronomical tide. So we could be seeing some tides in that area in excess of 20 feet, which is very, very high indeed.
Okay, thank you very much, John. The after effects of the hurricane, of course, could affect some games on Saturday. Mississippi State, Georgia, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, and Maryland, Clemson. We'll keep you posted throughout the night if there are developments in Hurricane Hugo. Okay, from the winds of Hugo to the Windy City now. The Cubs and Cards involved in a stormy race for the NL East title. Chicago's lead was down to 3 games. It sent ace Mike Maddox against the Phillies at Wrigley Field this afternoon. Maddox going for his 18th win. Got a strong performance here. Keith Miller goes down swinging, 1 of 6 strikeouts for Maddox. Cubs would get all they needed in the 3rd. 2 outs, Rick Rona on first. Doug DeCenzo, the ground ball to Charlie Hayes. Rona hustling, Hayes not hustling, beats the throw. Rona goes to 3rd. That was DeCenzo going to 1st. Next batter, Ryne Sandberg. Bangs the base hit into left field. Rona comes around. The Cubs have a 2-0 lead. Mark Grace, the next batter. Another base hit up the middle. In comes DeCenzo. 3-0 the Chicago lead. And then Andre Dawson. Bit of an off year for him. They want him to get hot late in the season. He responds right here. Knocks it out onto Waveland Avenue. Watch the scramble for the ball, and the mailman out-muscling 7 or 8 kids. Not rain, nor sleet, nor snow, nor crowd, and he comes up with the ball. The Cubs in a romp, 9-1. Maddox has 18 wins, equaling his total of last year. He allowed 6 hits and struck out 6. The Cubs' magic number now down to 7. The Mets and Cardinals, Darryl Strawberry has a 2-run single. The Mets had 4 runs in the 3rd inning. They now lead St. Louis in the 5th by a score of 4-0. Sid Fernandez and Ted Power are pitching. The Expos have a slim chance left. They lead the Pirates 6-5 in the 7th. Mike Fitzgerald had a grand slam for Montreal in the 1st inning. Mike LaValliere, a 3-run homer for Pittsburgh. Zane Smith and Rick Reed are pitching. In the NL West, the Padres cling to their slim hopes, although the Giants' dramatic 9th inning rally last night against the Dodgers kept San Diego 5 games back. Every game critical for Jack McKeon's ball club. They visited the Reds this afternoon in a wild one. So we go to the highlights in Riverfront Stadium. Top of the 9th, tied at 7. John Franco walks Carmelo Martinez with the bases loaded. Tony Gwynn comes in to score. Padres lead it 8-7. Later on, the Padres going for insurance. The force play here, Benito Santiago forced at 3rd, but Jack Clark scores on the play. 9-7 Padres. They added 2 more runs in the bottom of the 9th. Mark Davis with the strikeout. The Padres go on for an 11-7 victory. Jack Clark had his 25th homer. Eric Davis hit his 33rd. The Braves and the Padres. The Astros' hopes even slimmer than the Padres. They need a total collapse for the Giants, really. Houston 6 back as they visited the Braves in a twilight game. Checking out the highlights in that one. Not exactly a packed house in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Watch the defensive play here. Bill Doran drives to the left center. Ron Gant, the tremendous diving catch in the bottom of the 4th. Yes, as Gant rests and Art Howe looks on. The Braves would pick up the offense. Lonnie Smith turns on this one. Forget about it. A 2-run homer, his 21st. Braves lead it 2-0. Or Smith also had an RBI single. 2 for 4 in the night. Meanwhile, Tommy Green cruising. Greg Anthony goes down swinging. Green, 7 strikeouts. The Braves in a shutout win, 3-0. Green's first career shutout had 7 strikeouts. Dodgers and the Giants will play later on, 10:35. Ramon Martinez and Kelly Downs pitching in that one. In the American League, the A's trying to protect their slim lead, a 2-0 lead over Minnesota in the 5th inning. Ricky Henderson had an RBI single. Mark McGwire, a solo homer, his 29th. California leading Cleveland 1-0 in the 7th inning now. Johnny Ray had a sacrifice fly to score that run. Kirk McCaskill and John Farrell are pitching. Seattle and Texas. It's now 3-2. The Mariners are coming back. It was 3-1 in that one. Chad Kruder had a solo home run for Texas. Pete Incaviglia an RBI double. Randy Johnson and Jamie Moyer are pitching, rather. The Yankees and Milwaukee, a wild one. A brawl in the first game of a doubleheader. The Brewers go on for a 14-1 victory. In the first game, Robin Yount, 3 for 5. Joey Meyer, 2 for 4 with 4 RBI. And in the second game, the Yankees leading 3-1 in the 7th inning. Robin Yount has an RBI single. Roberto Kelly for New York has a 2-1 2-run single. We'll continue at halftime in just a minute. We'll examine the growing legend of Erk Russell, his Georgia Southern team leading 16-0 at halftime. Welcome back to halftime. There are no Blues in Statesboro, Georgia these days, at least during football season. Georgia Southern has become a 1AA juggernaut during the 80s, thanks to a bald, 225-pound miracle worker of a head coach. Mitch Glicken profiles Big Erk Russell.
We have 26 victories in the last 2 years. Nobody in America has done that. Nobody in America.
It's hard to believe that 8 years ago, Georgia Southern didn't even have a football program, yet alone a football stadium. In 8 short years, Erk Russell has built a dynasty on the Division I AA level. They've won the national title twice and been to the big game 3 out of the last 4 seasons. It's truly the stuff legends are made of.
It's hard to believe that going into the 9th season and looking back over the years that things have happened the way they have. When we went Division I AA in 1984, I really thought that was professional suicide.
Instead of ending his head coaching career prematurely, Erk and his Eagles nearly made it to the playoffs in that first year on the 1AA level.
8-3 in our first year in Division I AA was really a shock to me. And then I was even more shocked when we were able to win a national championship in 85. And then you move on to 86, and everybody else figured, well, they won it last year, and we can expect them to do it again. But I was still surprised that we did it in '86. The odds against a team doing that are tremendous, and we were very fortunate.
Irk's been more than fortunate when it comes to life off the football field. This down-home, good old boy loves living the simple life in the small South Georgia town of Statesboro.
These are my kind of people, and hopefully I'm their kind of people, too.
The 63-year-old head coach definitely is. When the University of Georgia came looking for a head coach to replace the legendary Vince Dooley last year, the people came together and rallied to keep Russell at Southern and breathed a major sigh of relief when Irk decided to stay.
Maybe a few years ago, I would have thought longer and harder about it. But at that point, when the opportunity came, I didn't feel like making a 4 or 5 year commitment to anybody or anything, not even my wife.
The coach is so popular, he's even got his own song.
Every day at practice time, you could see him arrive. He stood 6 feet tall, weighed 225. He was bald at the top and narrow at the hip. And everybody knew you didn't give no lift to Big Irk.
That's embarrassing.
It is?
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Why is that?
Well, it's just embarrassing. I'm a below average looking individual, for one thing, and I think, you know, I'm fat, bald-headed, and people naturally relate to folks like that. I always stop and think, what's the big deal? After all, what's the big deal?
2 national championships, 3 out of 4 years you're there.
Mitch, I just happened to be here. If I hadn't been here, somebody else would have done the same thing.
Irk Russell's worked miracles at Georgia Southern, creating a program that's gone from winning games to winning seasons to winning national championships. Something the Eagles would like to do.
Just one more time for Big Irk.
Thanks to Bubba Hawkins and the M&Ms for that nice song there. We're going to continue on our halftime report. Georgia Southern leading Middle Tennessee State at halftime by a score of 16-0. Stay with us. No games this weekend with the implications of Notre Dame and Michigan, but there is a game with Rose Bowl implications. Arizona State and Washington, UCLA, Michigan, Pitt, Syracuse, some other good games. The best way to get your Saturday started, a late breakfast with Bob Carpenter, Bino Cook, and Lee Corso.
College football Saturday starts with College Game Day at 11:30 Eastern. We'll preview the top tilts of the day, starting with the battle for Beast of the East, Syracuse traveling to Pittsburgh. We'll deliver the story of college football's most explosive family, the Ismails, Rocket Ragib, brothers Missile and Bomb, and Mama Launchpad.
Basically, I'm just taking everything in stride and just enjoying it while it's happening. But, you know, things like this, they're here one day and gone the next, so I'm enjoying it while it's here.
Rockets made a nickname for himself as the most exciting special teams player in the nation. And this year, many of college football's impact players have come from the special teams. Just ask the Ruski ringleader.
Our special teams has really been, that's probably caused our losses as much as any one factor, our inability to execute the special teams. That has always been a trademark for us.
Those stories and more on Game Day. Following Game Day, Rutgers and Northwestern at 12:30 Eastern. Our primetime game, Pitt and Syracuse from Pittsburgh, starting at 7 o'clock Eastern. Back with more at halftime in just a minute. Georgia Southern with a 16-0 lead. Georgia Southern has handled the weather better. Just 1 turnover, 4 for Middle Tennessee State. Georgia Southern's kicked 3 field goals. For the second half, we go back now to Statesboro. Barry Tompkins and Gene Washington.
All right, thank you, Chris. And Georgia Southern will kick it off to Middle Tennessee to start the second half, leading 16-0 in a game that isn't as close as the score, to tell you the truth.
Barry, Middle Tennessee, they need a score. You know, they need a field goal. They need a score. Then they can think about trying to make a ball game out of it. But they can't just, you know, air it out and go for 6 right away. They just need to try to do something, go downfield, and just get 3 points on the board.
And yet, it falls into the category of stranger things have happened.
Yeah, but they need a score. You know what I mean? They just get on the board. Just find a way to get on the board and then go from there. Don't just try to get it all back at once.
Boots Donnelly, guys, been around the track more times than once. And a kickoff, high kick, headed for Crenshaw at the 3. Crenshaw to the 10. The gap to the 20. Out of bounds at about the 23. How did Middle Tennessee do in the first half? The answer is not very well, thank you very much. Middle Tennessee just didn't get it done. As you can see, look at this. Nothing the first time they coughed it up. 12 yards, not much of a drive there. Then they went backwards and had an interception. A 1-yard drive, hardly call it a drive. They had a punt after 21 yards. Nothing, 3, 2. That's the story of the half. And when you look at the numbers, 18 total yards in the first half for Middle Tennessee. They've had better. Here's the pitch to Campbell, and Campbell is turned inside by Kevin Whitley.
Good tackle by Kevin Whitley. He was standing there just waiting for him. When that ball was pitched out, he was there in what we call the fundamental football position. Watch this. Tail down, head up. Good tackle.
It's really obvious watching Georgia Southern. They are a very well-coached team. Both teams are well-coached. That's to take nothing away from Middle Tennessee. They've been a perennial powerhouse, actually, in 1AA. They've been in the playoffs many times. And again, we point out they are 3-3 against Irk Russell and the Eagles. This time, not even a chance for the double option. They put it in the belly of the fullback, and when Ironside turned around, he had Giff Smith right in his face.
But again, Barry, I have to go back to the point that, you know, they're running the option against a team that sees the best option in practice all week long. And to me, you're sort of playing right into their hands with this.
They're a team that, by their own definition, is a tailback-oriented team. The fullback blocks, the tailback carries the ball. Well, the tailback hasn't been able to do that very much, and they're forced into alternatives, although that may not be their best alternative. Here it is again, and the pitch to Campbell. And Campbell just simply cannot get outside. It's just that simple. Hendricks and Hughes on the stop.
Not only is Georgia Southern getting their linebackers coming up, but they have the defensive corners there in what we call a roll-up zone. They're coming up forcing. There's just no place for Middle Tennessee to run with the football. This man, really one of the bright defensive coaches in all of college football. With 17 years, I believe it was, at Georgia as a defensive coordinator, he obviously knows something about how to coach a defense.
They're a very effective team. Their execution is very good on both sides of the ball. Remember, this is being played in just awful conditions. Daniel to kick. Terrible kick. That one is about a 15-yarder and then gets maybe another 10 out of the bounce. See how close I am. It's out of bounds about the 42-yard line. Not bad, 20 yards. Into the teeth of the wind. Incidentally, the rain for a moment had let up, but now it is raining hard again, and it continues to blow from left to right as you watch it. And believe me, those pictures that you're seeing make it look like it's a much better night than it really is. There's a little bit more of what it really is like. Boots Donnelly, I'll tell you about how he got the nickname in a minute. Here's Ross, the fullback, and they shut it down pretty good on first down. But again, Georgia Southern with great field position to start things.
Middle Tennessee, I noticed, Barry, what they're doing now is they're starting to bring the linebackers in there. They're starting to plug some of those gaps. They're the halftime stats. Look at the rushing yardage right in the middle of your screen. That tells a story. 198 on the side of Georgia Southern and 1 yard for Middle Tennessee.
Pretty startling. Penalty on that last play. It's been a relatively penalty-free game, actually. Face mask was the call. And it'll be a 2nd down and 2 now for Georgia Southern, so even when there was nothing, they get something. This time Gross on the keeper, and he is surrounded.
Good job of defense. Good job on defense. They're slanting. Those linebackers are starting to shoot in the gaps. They're filling all the holes in there. And, you know, and I talked about it in the first half, you know, make them do something other than just running the football. Even if you have to overcommit to the run, do it. You know, make them fake it in there and come back and throw the football.
Mike Kelly and Kelvin Robinson. Didn't expect to see much of Kelly. He wasn't even on their roster. And this time it is Gross on the keeper again, and they turn it inside. So a very good defensive effort this time for the Raiders. Remember, the last sequence they had before halftime was pretty good also.
Now, on the other hand, Gross, I would think, as a quarterback, now is going to start thinking, okay, watch the pursuit of the defense. The guys are keeping their feet. They're playing it inside out, playing it very well. Now, if I'm Georgia Southern, I'm going to say, okay, they're overplaying the run. Now is when I'll come in there and fake that ball. I want to fake that ball into the fullback and then drop back
to throw the ball downfield.
But even with it all, remember the face mask penalty gave them an additional 5. Only had 2 yards to go on that play, and they did get enough for the first down.
But Middle Tennessee is playing much better at the line of scrimmage.
Give it this time to the fullback, Ross, and Ross slips and falls, trying to make a cut to the outside at the 25-yard line. How did Georgia Southern do in the first half? Considerably better than Middle Tennessee, thank you very much. They started out in fine fashion. 30 yards, wound up in a field goal. That's the result of a fumble. And then they went 20 yards and had to give it up. Almost every time, though, as you can see, they're getting at least 1 first down. Moving the ball, keeping their defense off the field. But then toward the end of the first half, with the exception of that one possession that resulted in a field goal, Middle Tennessee did manage to up and defense it. There's a fumble. Middle Tennessee has it. So there's the break they've been waiting for. And now let's see if they can turn it around offensively. Fairbanks made the hit, and Marty Carter the recovery.
Finally paid off, Barry. They did a good job. We were talking about how they had changed the tempo. You can see the slants. They're going right. Everybody coming down. Let's see where the ball pops loose here. Oh, good joke. Nice tackle. He really gave Gross a shot there.
Mike Fairbanks, the man who made the hit, Carter the recovery. So now let's see what Middle Tennessee can do with their own 20-yard line. Out of the eye. Give it to the fullback. Forget it. Loss at 2. On the nose, Charlie Waller. Help from Steve Busoletti.
Barry, I think that what they have to do is, but see, that wind is facing them. He's looking them right in the face. I mean, their strength is throwing the football. They want to throw the football, but they're going right into that wind, so it really handicaps them. It's tough for them to run against this defense.
Go from the eye once again and flop the tight end. Give us the Campbell at the right side. Gets to about the 20-yard line. That was Martin again, not Campbell. I beg your pardon. Ricky Martin in the ball game for Joe Campbell. Hendricks and Maxwell make the stop.
Now, Barry, I think that what Middle Tennessee, they're going to have to go deep into their bag, get some reverses. They got to do something to try to generate some positive yardage. They would like to throw the football, but they're facing the wind. Maybe some misdirection. If they have a reverse in their plan, now's the time to pull those things out.
3rd down and 10. Short drop, slant pattern. And even if it's caught, it's going to be well short of the first down. Donaldson did make the catch, but it is well short of the first down. And Daniel will have to come on to punt it away once more. First time they've gone to that 2-step drop.
See, but the Middle Tennessee defense is on the field way too long. So they got the break, they turned it over, now they go to the sidelines, now they're going to come right back on the field. The defense just can't be out there that long.
3 and out. That has been the story of the evening offensively for Middle Tennessee. Daniel to kick. Oglesby will stand at the 45, and again the Eagles will have good field position. Pretty good kick this time as Daniel managed to drive it, but he didn't get much of a hop that time. Down to the 35-yard line, and that's where Georgia Southern will start, leading 16-0. ESPN's College Football Thursday, Middle Tennessee versus Georgia Southern, is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. 16-0 ball game. Georgia Southern leading Middle Tennessee State. It has been all Georgia Southern. That's just about as simply as you can put it. We're just underway in the 3rd period. About 9 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in this 3rd quarter. The rain has been here from the very beginning. As a matter of fact, it's been here from about noon this afternoon. Slowed just a couple of moments ago, but it has picked up again. Heavy rain, blowing wind, and all Georgia Southern is doing is executing just about perfectly. That was Ross, the ball carrier. Now 105 yards. That is his 11th 100-plus yards per game day.
But Barry, on that play, we talked about at the beginning of the game, we talked about winning on first down. Middle Tennessee is doing a much better job. That was first down. They held them to less than 4 yards. So you have to say that Middle Tennessee won on that play. See, now you're looking at a passing down.
Made some adjustments at halftime, doing a pretty good job. Gross stopped in the backfield. Loss of 2, Richard Kinley, and they are getting it done. Now, of course, it's for the defense to light a fire into the offense for Middle Tennessee.
The defense is doing its job. See, now Gross is looking at a situation now, an obvious passing down. See, those guys, they're going to slant. They slant. Look at those linebackers. They're going in there, filling the gap.
playing it inside out. Play it inside out.
Nice play defensively that time.
See, now they'll let him throw anything short. Throw anything short, and you surround that. Surround anything short.
Straight back, and the pass intended that time for Donnie Allen is incomplete. And so once more, the Eagles will have to give it up.
That's a good series on the part of Middle Tennessee on defensively. They did a good job there.
Well, now you got to go back to the point that you made just a few moments ago. They got to get some points on the board, and this game changes.
Yeah, and they don't have to get it in a hurry because psychologically they can take their time. Oh, almost got it.
But he turned this one over pretty good. Crenshaw fumbled it, and the Eagles have it. So they have done an excellent job defensively, and they just cannot catch a break. Kenny Madison's the man who recovered it.
You can tell he's having trouble with that one right from the beginning. It's hard to tell how much the wind had to, do with that, but it looked like he had it, and then he just sort of lost it, sort of like a baseball in Candlestick Park. And look, where's it going to go? Where's it going to go?
Look at that. 4 fumbles lost tonight. Georgia Southern's lost a pair, and Boots Donnelly all by his lonesome. I'm sure he feels even lonelier than he looks. Gross will put it up. Looks downfield for the end zone. Almost intercepted. Fine defensive play that time by Jimmy McCamey.
McCamey did a good job on that play. He timed it perfectly. Gross is zeroing in. He's not looking at the cornerback. He's just zeroing in on his receiver. McCamey comes up, look, just timed it perfectly.
Could have had a pick there.
Yeah. I think he was more concerned with just knocking it down as opposed to trying to come up with an interception. Good job of coverage.
2 of 8 passing for Raymond Gross. Less than scintillating numbers. And this time Gross on the keeper, and they have that well defensed. They are doing a very good job on that. Randy Horn on the tackle.
So, Barry, what they're doing, they're playing it inside out. See, you play it inside out. You take that first man, you take him, you shut him down. The quarterback, then he comes out, play him inside out. Don't take the pitch man and let him cut under you. String it out. Make him go to the sideline. Good job of defense.
Randy Horn, just a sophomore, Huntington, Tennessee.
See, they're going to force Georgia Southern to put the ball up. And if they don't put it up, fine, then you take it over.
I think you said that, didn't you? And they are going to put it up, rolling right. And throwing underneath. Fine comeback catch that time by Terrence Sorrell at the 15-yard line. Gain of 12 and a first down.
Sorrell making up for that drop he had earlier, and he's a big-time receiver. He can do it. Last couple of weeks, he's come up with a couple of big plays. 62-yard touchdown, had a 42-yard play that set up a touchdown. Good throw here by Gross. Right on the money. That's a well-executed pass play.
He had the kind of numbers in high school that I know you got to love. He only caught 12 balls, but listen to this. He caught 12 balls for 445 yards. That's not bad. First down at the 15. And the give is to Ross, and Ross with a little opening inside the 5-yard line.
Ross on the carry inside the 5-yard line.
Fairbanks and Carter saved the touchdown.
Yeah, Barry, that's a sign of a good team. Georgia Southern, they stopped the run. They came back with a pass play. They did what they had to do. Then they come back to what they do best, run the football. They get you when you're a little down, then they push you down further.
Dancing with what brung you.
Yeah. See, that's a sign of a well-coached football team.
A look at Joe Ross. Routine day for him. 22 carries, 116 yards. We still got a quarter and a half to go. Give it this time to Thompson. Thompson, a short yardage specialist, gets it to about the 1-yard line. He's already scored once today. Scored the only touchdown of the day tonight.
The touchdown man, Ernest Thompson, right? What, 4 touchdowns I think he had in that one game against West Georgia, I guess it was. When they get down there, he smells pay dirt. Put it in his hands.
Good jumper, too. They run out of the power I. Let's see if he doesn't just hurdle in this time. Ball at the 2-yard line. There he is. Touchdown.
Ernest Thompson has scored in 11 of the last 13 games.
now we'll make it 12. Former quarterback, by the way, Barry.
That's near and dear to
former
you,
quarterback. Yeah, that's right. See those numbers. See, I used to wear 18. Any guy who wears a number in those teens, boy, you gotta love it. Get those wide receivers with those T numbers, and then they change the rules. Now you can do that.
That's right. Those are the guys that don't get their shirts dirty, right? 5:59 remaining, and a look at the scoreboard shows Georgia Southern 23, Middle Tennessee nothing. Barry Tompkins with Gene Washington on a rainy night in Georgia. Rainy, windy, stormy, watching for Hugo. And all the while, we're watching Georgia Southern execute pretty darn well, considering the conditions here. They lead Middle Tennessee 23-0. And with the wind at his back, Crenshaw, I don't think will try it. Shows you what I know. At the 5 to the 10. And gets just across the 15-yard line.
But if he'd taken your advice, he would have gained another 5 yards by just bringing it out to the 20.
Here's a look at the way Georgia Southern did it. 10 plays, 64 yards, took 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Thompson, his numbers on the day, listen to this, 7 carries, 5 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Touchdown man.
And there he is right there. Last season, as you can see, 19 touchdowns, scored 116 points. Those are both school records. He's got 9 touchdowns already this year.
Mickey's in there.
Ironside will throw, almost has to now against the wind. Comebacker is caught nicely that time by Van Dingler. And Oglesby makes the stop, gain of 10 and a first down.
And the time to throw is on first down because the defense, they're not sure whether he's going to run or throw. He'll get a little more time here, throwing on first down. He has a strong arm, and if he's given time, he can put the football there. You know, like I said, in slow motion, it looks like a dying duck, but that's a well-thrown ball under these circumstances.
He does have prototypical quarterback size. A little bit slow in his release, still learning to look people off. But remember, this is only the 4th game that he's lined up as the starter. It was a transfer from the University of Tennessee. Straight back again. Goes deep this time for the tight end. And James fell down. Not sure that he was going to catch up with that football under any circumstances.
His problem there, his tight end, Melvin James, was open, but he throws the ball too late. Now, if he delivers the ball right now, he's got to get that ball in there right now. See, it's too late now. Too late. They closed on it. See, that's an where you have to anticipate where he's going to be. You can't wait till he gets there and throw the ball.
So again, the experience factor jumps up. 3rd down, a yard.
Oh, blitz, big blitz.
First time they've come. And I don't think they made it. I was a little premature in saying they did not. And they say fumble, I believe, is what they're saying, are they not? He caught that football up. Apparently he did, and the Eagles have it. And there is a look at the head man. I did not see a fumble in there.
I tell you what, they brought a lot of heat up the middle. They brought the linebackers. You'll probably see somebody jump right in there. Well, he dropped the snap. See, there's number 43 coming right in there. Quarterback dropped the ball. Ironside put it on the ground, but he couldn't get to it because he had someone right on his back.
Hendricks again, the middle linebacker, has just been
he's
all over the place. So Georgia Southern has it back, and the Eagles back in business at the 25. Ross into the open, 15 to the 10. Tries to break a tackle down to the 7-yard line.
Ross on the carry to the 6-yard line.
Gain of 18 for Joe Ross. Remember last year he had 157 yards. Look at this.
And look at the men up front. Look at those guys up front. Gainey, Twiggs, Bernard. They open the holes, and Ross does the rest.
I got to mention Twiggs. Twiggs is the center and weighs 219 pounds. Now, you don't find centers that weigh 219 pounds. I'll tell you what Irk Russell had to say about him. Down to about the 4-yard line.
3-yard line.
That was Thompson.
Number 34, Chuck Swafford.
On Twiggs, he said, yeah, he's 219 pounds. But he's a solid, quick, nasty 219 pounds. And he has. I mean, you would think that you could just push him back into the backfield. Well, that doesn't happen. Power eye. Thompson, the up back. Oh, ball at the 3.
Gainey moves.
One of the few execution mistakes that Georgia Southern has made today.
Number 51, Gainey, there he goes. You know, the quarterback changed the play. And, you know, as you mentioned, they're so accustomed to going on that first sound. And that's what happened. He got a little lapse there, went on the first sound, but it was really a signal to audible. Look at that rain bouncing off Erk's head. Look at it.
You know, I don't want to say it's raining hard, but he had hair when we came in here.
I mean, that's football.
It is raining here, folks. It is raining harder. And the give is to Ross, and Ross gets it to the 5.
Ross on the carry to the 5-yard
Kinley on the stop. Still 3 minutes 50 seconds remaining in the third period.
But still, Barry, the amazing thing, look at that field. Not a puddle to be seen. The best field I have ever seen when it comes to drainage.
It really is.
Not one puddle out there. It's been raining all day long.
Here's Ross on a quarterback draw. Gross, I beg your pardon, on a quarterback draw, and it was sniffed out very well defensively by Lem Collins, number 95, coming over from a defensive end spot.
Nice percentage play. You get down here, you don't want to turn it over. You have a quarterback who can run like Gross. But didn't work this time, but what the heck? Give it a shot.
Collins filled the hole nicely that time. So field goal tried, 25-yarder. Dowis has it up, and good. A flag is down. And let's check the flag. I doubt they'll take the points off the board, even if it is against Middle Tennessee. And the Blue Raiders started off the field. Now we'll check it out. I believe it is against Middle Tennessee, and so this is not going to matter. I believe they will stay with the points, put them up there, make it 26-0, and kick it off. But the debate still rages. And there you saw the call, offside. It'll be refused. The field goal is good, and a look at the scoreboard shows Georgia Southern 26, Middle Tennessee nothing. There have been a lot of high points for us at ESPN covering 1AA football over the years, but none more so than this. Tracy Ham capping a 22-point comeback at the 1985 championship game with this touchdown pass to Frank Johnson. Tracy Ham is considered the best player ever to don a uniform at Georgia Southern. To that end, he's the only player to ever have his jersey retired. He's still doing it up in the CFL as a member of the Edmonton Eskimos, running it, throwing it, and winning. Well, when Tracy Ham was here playing for that man, Erk Russell, they call the offense the ham bone, oddly enough. And he really ran it well. And we were talking to Boots Donnelly, the Middle Tennessee coach, about Tracy Ham the other night. He played him, of course, for 4 years, and he said the guy was so good, he was illegal. In fact, the whole team, Ham just sort of set the tone for everything that Erk Russell has done here. And the hallmark of this team is quickness. And there again, we were talking to Boots Donnelly, who's a very funny guy, and Boots said, you got to be quick when you play there because you got to be able to outrun the gnats or they'll eat you. Well, a new quarterback now for Middle Tennessee, Jeff Taylor, just a sophomore out of Dublin, Ohio, and the word on Taylor is that he is a better runner than he is a passer. And as a matter of fact, the word that we got was when Jeff Taylor comes in, they really do drop off a great deal. And Ironside is really clearly the better quarterback. But he's going to be getting some experience right here, and he's got a ways to go. The pitch back to Martin. Martin at the right side doesn't get much. Darrell Hendricks again. Have we been calling that name a lot tonight?
He's all over the field. Middle linebacking position, he's reading. He sits there, he reads it. Basically what he's doing is he's following the quarterback. And as I mentioned before, as we take a look at Phil Ironside on the sideline, Middle Tennessee needs to get some kind of misdirection. They have to pitch the ball that way and come back with a reverse. They got to do something to get to change this momentum, the pursuit of Georgia Southern.
Here's a give again to Martin. Deep handoff, but again converging on it beautifully. Harris with help from Parr. Talked about Darrell Hendricks a moment ago that we've been calling his name a lot. He has made 10 tackles tonight. But he has affected just about every play he's been in.
We see it the way he sees it. Shifts a little to the left, gets out of position, but he comes back over and gets in on the action.
Well, again, when we talk to the coaching staff of Middle Tennessee, everyone that we talk to emphasized the fact they got to be able to block the middle linebacker. And They haven't done it, and it shows in the scoreboard. Here's a pitch to the left side this time. Martin, who is very quick, gets it up to about the 25-yard line, but well short of the first down on a 3rd and 11.
You see how Kevin Whitley, number 4, the defensive back, how he played that? He fought off the blocker, made him go inside where his help was. Good job by the defensive back, Kevin Whitley.
Rain continues to come down even harder than before. And the wind has shifted direction just a little bit. Look at that. Well, you don't think our cameramen are earning their pay tonight, do you?
Again, a chance for Georgia Southern to come up with very good field position. Blocked it. I think they got
a hand on it, I think. And down at the 45-yard line, they did well to do that. Randall Boone was the man who got a hand on it. Very good athlete, Randall Boone. As a matter of fact, the coaching staff at Georgia Southern feels that if anybody falls into the category of NFL prospect on their team, it would be Boone, who at 6'3" and 200 pounds plays safety. But some of the coaches of Georgia Southern seem to feel that his future may be as a wide receiver.
Take a look from the end zone. So it's a hand. Boy, he came close to knocking that one back into the other end zone. He was there in plenty of time.
Gross this time on a keeper, slips by a man, gets it down to about the 42-yard line, maybe 43. Lem Collins makes the tackle for the Blue Raiders. $18 carries, 109 yards now for that man. Raymond Gross doesn't do it spectacularly, but I tell you, he gets it done.
And I don't know how much of a difference it makes, Barry, but the raining is coming down much harder now than it was before.
Yes, it is. Maybe we'll just stay here tonight, Gene. What do you think? Here's a give to Ross inside the 40 to about the 38. So 2 players now after 3 quarters as the 3rd quarter winds to a close. Over 100 yards. That man, Joe Ross, 143 yards, coming off a 151-yard effort last year and coming off his best game a week ago against Florida A&M. And the quarterback, Raymond Gross, also over 100 yards.
Well, that's the end of the 3rd quarter. You can see the Georgia Southern players holding up their hands, signifying 4th quarter. 4th quarter is theirs, and it has been all game long. We'll be right back.
Well, there's Erk Russell, and you know he doesn't even feel those raindrops. Really interesting guy. Give it to Ross this time, and Ross gets it to about the 36-yard line. It's going to be about a yard short of the first down. Talking to Erk Russell about the program here and how Georgia Southern University is really growing. Matter of fact, it's grown from a college to a university just in the last couple of years. And he was saying that I can't tell you that our football program is responsible for the growth of the school, but it is the only thing here that's new. So he's really doing a job. And look at the things he's done by putting Georgia Southern on the map. Back in 1984, 8 wins. It goes up from there, 13 wins and national championships for a couple of years, drops back down to a 9-win season, back to a 12-win season. Fell 1 game short last year. And don't you know he's going to be in a hunt this year?
Well, it's obvious that they are a well-coached football team in all areas of the team. Defensively, offensively, and on special teams.
Ross did get enough of the first down on that last snap, so the ball short of the 35-yard line at the 36. And here's Ross again, and Ross slips inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Gain of 7. The rushing yardage now, Gene, look at these numbers. 267 yards rushing. And what does that say for Middle Tennessee?
Looks like a 7 to me. 7 yards.
That tells you about the game. Flag was down, illegal motion to call against Georgia Southern. And don't you have the idea that if the game were closer, you wouldn't have seen an illegal motion there?
And Barry, for our viewers, if you hear something out there that sounds like popcorn, folks, that's the raindrops hitting our audio equipment. It's really coming down. Which means, I guess, that that storm is getting closer.
Yes. We're trying to stay 1 step ahead of it tonight. Here's Ross again, up the middle, steps over a man, gets down to the 32-yard line. So we got about 7 back. And it really does look like they could run that play all night.
Barry, one of the things that happens in college football is just it's the nature of the beast, is that if a team gets down, they sort of psychologically really start to, for lack of a better word, cave in. I mean, you know, scores can really get out of hand in the last quarter.
This time. Gross on the keep, can't quite make the cut.
Something interesting, Barry, here. Maybe our field has reached the saturation point. That was the first time I saw any water spray. First time the whole game that I saw any water spray.
Well, it's absorbed a lot. So is Middle Tennessee. Look at these numbers. Ross, 24 carries. He's now up to 147. Thompson, 8 rushes, 8 yards, but 2 touches. Middle Tennessee just can't get it done. 33 yards total. That is not going to put points on the board. As you can see, the Raiders have coughed it up 6 times. Georgia Southern only 2. Here's Gross this time. Wanted to pitch it, and it was knocked out of his hands. There's an excellent defensive effort that time by Mike Caldwell. Gross wanted to pitch it out. Caldwell saw it coming all the way, just swatted the ball right out of Gross's hand.
That was a great play, a really heads-up play. And just the time that I was talking about people starting to give up, he comes up with a big play. Watch, number 40, top of your screen. Watch. Make him pitch, sticks it out there, bats it back, and then pushes the quarterback away. He said, no, this is mine. This player is still playing. That's a great effort. That's a great effort.
He incidentally is a first-year freshman, so he is going to be around for 4 more years. One of only 2 first-year freshmen that are playing for Boots Donnelly. Taylor at quarterback to throw for the first time. Threw and had it batted away. Getting a hand on that one. Troy Donahue, number 99. Not to be confused with Troy Donahue, the actor, in any way, shape, or form.
From the right side of your screen, probably looks like Wilt Chamberlain coming in as far as the quarterback is concerned. Gets that big paw up there, knocks it away. And those linemen, Barry, they're trained. When the quarterback releases, they go up, put the hand up. Worked out well for him.
There he is, Troy Donahue. He shipped out of the eye this time. This has been a passing set for them. Taylor straight back. A lot of time, but credit to coverage here. Rolls away in deep trouble. Down all the way back at the 16. Credit the secondary with that one. Sean Harrelson made the sack, but the secondary gave it to him.
Georgia Southern secondary has done an excellent job all night long in terms of coverage. Whitley on the corner, Oglesby, Dixon at the safety, Boone at safety. Really have done an outstanding job.
He had enough time to throw, but everybody was just so covered that eventually the protection broke down. 17-yard loss. Harrelson given credit for the sack. Here's a draw play, this time with Martin trying to get outside. He's 35-40. He can run. Midfield, 45-40. Down at the 35-yard line. Biggest play of the night by far for Middle Tennessee. 50 yards on the run by Ricky Martin.
Barry, the interesting thing about this play is that anybody who's played football knows you're going to run a draw play here. I mean, that's a classic play. You run a draw play. The only thing that I can think of is that Georgia Southern relaxed. They relaxed. They said, oh, we got him. They're going to run it. But this man doesn't relax. Number 28, Ricky Martin, he picks him up and lays him down, boy. Almost had 6.
4.34 speed. He's the fastest member of their team, and he showed it there. But unlike Oglesby, we talked about a little earlier, cornerback, as I believe the Eagles jumped offside. Or were they drawn off? We'll see. Oglesby is a guy who doesn't have great speed in the 40, but has good football speed. Martin is the opposite. He is very fast, but he's track fast.
And there is a difference. We've seen it so many times. Olympians coming out for football teams and on the football field not running very fast at all. There's a big difference.
Georgia Southern penalized for jumping offside, as you mentioned initially. And so free play basically here for Middle Tennessee. 7 penalties now for Georgia Southern. And they give it this time to Martin, but it is not going to happen this time. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Hendricks again with help from Barry.
All over the field, the middle linebacker. And Barry, when a middle linebacker is able to get up to all those places, what that means is that the defensive tackles are absorbing the blocks. They're taking the blockers off the linebacker, so he's able to pursue. See, they take those linemen. Those linemen can't get out and get a shot on that middle linebacker because the defensive tackles are doing their job.
They play very good team defense. You see a lot of bodies flying around on Georgia Southern. Taylor this time straight back to pass again. Throws downfield, intercepted. Well, Taylor, I'm sure would like to have that one back. Randall Boone was the man who intercepted it. No official sign yet. There it is. And Taylor really threw that one pretty much to Boone rather than to Danielson, or Donaldson rather.
Tunnel vision. He'd made up his mind when he left the huddle that where he was going to throw the football, and he just did it. He said, I'm going to throw it there. I don't care what happens. See, he'd already decided where he was going to throw the football. So he's looking, doesn't care who's around, and I know because I've been in that situation before as a quarterback, and I've made that same mistake before.
7th turnover for Middle Tennessee, and that doesn't help, but you have the idea that on this day, turnovers or no turnovers, Georgia Southern is the better of these two teams. And I repeat, on this day, it's not out of the question that Middle Tennessee and Georgia Southern can see each other again come the 1AA playoffs. We'll be back. ESPN's College Football Thursday, Middle Tennessee State versus Georgia Southern is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch. We brew our fine quality beers to be enjoyed responsibly. Remember, know when to say when. By Mitsubishi, big screen televisions. This game would look better on a Mitsubishi big screen. And by Citgo, the sign of quality. Hey, this game would look better on a big screen television to us, too. Look at this, will you? Run over there and put your finger in that. Meanwhile, Georgia Southern with the ball, and they will try to use some of the clock here. At least that's what we're hoping. 10.5 minutes left. Irk Russell, he's not wet, he's not cold.
Barry, he must feel awfully good about the way his football team has performed here tonight. You know, national television audience, they have a certain amount of pressure in that. You know, playing at night, they usually play their games during the day. Under the weather conditions, just a superb job by the Georgia Southern football team.
This time they shift into the I formation. And they pitch it. I think we got illegal procedure here before the snap. That'll be no play as Carl Miller carried the ball out of the tailback spot in the I formation. There's another look at Irk Russell. Incidentally, one thing that really does behoove this man and his team is that the championship game this year will be played right here in Statesboro, Georgia. We get to come back here, and the folks here have just been so nice to all our ESPN crew. Looking forward to coming back here for the championship.
Now, Barry, the stadium is a fairly new stadium, beautiful facility. Now, when did they put this in the stadium? Does anybody know when they put this stadium in here?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. So now the team has lost or not lost any games here, just one.
Lost one game, lost to Middle Tennessee in their 4th game.
In 4 years.
That's right.
That ain't bad.
No. Gross checking off, and again we mentioned when he checks off, that only means he's changing it from one side to the other. They shift into the I again. They give it to Miller, the tailback. And Miller gets it back to the 20-yard line. Actually, they had told us when we talked to him, they don't do any shifting. They don't go into an I formation.
Maybe they're giving their upcoming opponents something to think about.
That may be exactly right.
This is the time to do that. Put something on that teaching reel that they're going to send out.
Terry Harwin, who has not had much duty that come after this one, almost got a piece. Might have gotten a piece of it, actually.
I think the wind got a piece of that one too, Barry.
And it goes dead at the 38-yard line.
You know, you kick it 30, the wind gets it and sends it back 20.
Well, it has been a long night for Middle Tennessee. That's a 15-yard punt. God, kickers have to hate this.
Oh.
We had a flag down, and
well, the Eagles have the football back. Appears as though they're going to get it back.
12 men on the field, I think, is the preliminary call against Middle Tennessee. Now going from bad to worse for Boots Donnelly's team. Here's the way it's gone for Middle Tennessee. This is a real woe is me right here. 5 fumbles, 3 penalties. That's not too bad. 2 interceptions, a couple of sacks, and they haven't put it up that much. Been that kind of night, and the scoreboard shows it, 26-0.
It's the 7 turnovers. See, that's the key. That's the killer. The 7 turnovers.
I'll tell you how the wind has affected the game. The punting averages, and the punters have kicked against the wind 24 yards when they've kicked with the wind 40 yards. Gross on the keeper. He's got all kinds of room. 35, dragged down from behind at the 37. Marty Carter, who has made a lot of tackles, makes the stop.
Well, you have to be impressed with the quarterback, Raymond Gross. He, you know, he runs smaller than he is because a lot of the option quarterbacks are small guys, very quick, very shifty. He's got some good size on him, but he's very nifty with the football, especially when he gets out in the open field. He reminds you more of a running back because he has that ability, you know, to make the sharp breaks.
More and more teams taking their very best athlete and putting him under center where he can touch the ball 3/4 of the time. Joe Ross at the right side for a couple. And you only have to look as far as Notre Dame to see that.
Beat Michigan, put the ball in the air 2 times. Never thought I'd see that day where you get the #1 team play the #2 team and they win and put the ball in the air 2 times. But one of those went for a touchdown.
Oh, when you only put it up 2 times, that almost always happens. There's the story of this one. 8 minutes remaining. And again, Gross. This time he's got no place to go. Looking for help and won't find any. Goes down back at the 35, and it'll be 3rd down in a bunch. Well, again, the defense of Georgia Southern has done the job. Only 2 touchdowns so far in 3 3/4 games.
Well, there's no quit, you know, on this team. They keep fighting. The problem with the defense is they've been on the field too.
Interesting. I always wonder about ratings in general. Georgia Southern 2 weeks ago was rated #1 in Division I AA. They go down to Jacksonville and play Florida A&M last week. They beat them 28-0, and they're rated #3 this week.
They should have let Florida A&M score.
That's right. Here's the pitch this time to the tailback, Alonzo McGee, and McGee, or rather that is Ross, who was the trailback that time, and is knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 5. But it will bring about the presence of the punting team. And with a 4th down, a timeout is called by Middle Tennessee, and I'm not sure if when we come back, Georgia Southern will punt. We'll be back. Well, here's a little peek inside the television business. That is where our producer and our director and all the brain trust sits, back right up to this fine stadium, Paulson Stadium. Now seats about 18,000, but I'll tell you, there are big plans here, Gene. They're thinking of stadiums that range upward of 50,000 people. They eventually have thoughts about moving up from Division I AA to Division I, and on 4th down, they're going to go for it here. They go out of the power I. They give it to Thompson, and Thompson needs 3, and he's close.
I thought he only carried the ball when they were down by the goal line.
Yeah, or when
That's
they
a
have to
touchdown,
have
man,
3
isn't it?
yards. He is the touchdown man. He got enough. That, incidentally, is not designed to rub it in, I don't believe. They are, with the wind in their face, they don't want to punt it. Bad things happen. Good things will happen, though, here on ESPN coming up this Saturday, 12:30 Eastern Time. It'll be Rutgers and Northwestern. Northwestern just simply has not been able to get on track. Good game here, though, I think. Syracuse and Pittsburgh, the nation's #10 and #13 ranked teams. That should be a pretty good ball game. This is Hopkins, the ball carrier. I beg your pardon, Ross, the ball carrier. Ross got about 3. And he now has 176 yards, his best ever.
Outstanding player. They have a lot of outstanding players.
Yeah, they do.
That's one of the nice things about seeing these teams is that you find out that there's some very good football players that are playing for universities that we don't hear a lot about nationally.
Also, the thing that really impresses me, and you touched upon this earlier, both these teams are really well coached and well scouted. Each team knew an awful lot about the other. And both you and I have been around major college football for a long time, and I'll tell you, I didn't find any difference in meeting with the coaches here and talking with them before the game than I do any school at any other place in any division.
Well, that pretty well tells the story tonight, doesn't it?
Total
yards on 1st down. We've talked about how important 1st down is.
Luke Stonley felt they had to shut down Georgia Southern on 1st and 2nd down. Needless to say, he didn't do that. started to tell you earlier how Boots Donnelly got his nickname. His nickname was Butch. His mother and father always called him Butch, and he was a baseball player. And he was playing baseball in a summer pro tournament down in Tennessee, and a writer for the Tennessean when he was a kid asked him what his nickname was. Butch said, "My nickname's Butch." And the writer wrote Boots. And ever since then, he's been Boots Donnelly. Mike Kelly on the tackle that time, gain of a couple.
Barry, actually, I'm a little surprised that Gross is still at quarterback. The backup quarterback, Huntley, I would think that, for no other reason than not wanting your main man to get injured, that Irk might want to pull him out.
So the students here at Georgia Southern sure to have pneumonia tomorrow. This time, Gross can't handle the snap, but he manages to contain it. Loss of about 2, and once more it'll be 4th down. I would think they'll go for it again here, to tell you the truth.
I'd get my quarterback out of there is what I'd do.
With Russell directing a little traffic here. They are going to go for it again.
Boy, that rain is coming down now. How are we going to get back to the West Coast?
It's going to really be interesting. Oh.
We'll have some tailwind.
I was just going to say, we get this rain and this wind, we may be able to do it in about an hour. Here's a pitch this time to Hopkins on 4th down, nothing to do it. Middle Tennessee will take over. Mike Kelly makes the tackle.
Well, that young man can certainly be proud of his performance tonight, as can several players, the entire team, but there were some outstanding individual performances.
Really were. Joe Ross, of course, has to be mentioned. And on the defensive side of the ball, we already talked about Darrell Hendricks. Thought Mike West from a linebacker spot had a big ball game. And the secondary, even though we didn't mention the secondary's name a great deal, any of the individuals, that's mainly because they didn't get the ball out there very much, but they covered very well. And playing quarterback for Middle Tennessee and airing that one out was Dino Stafford. Stafford actually threw the ball nicely, but unable to hold it. There's Joe Ross. Incidentally, I don't know if you noticed Joe Ross. We haven't had a picture of him up very much tonight, but if you haven't, he's the winner of the Greg Louganis lookalike contest. 32 carries, 182 yards.
And if we stay out here much longer, he'll be able to dive like Greg Louganis. This is going to...
Stafford back to pass again. No nonsense, just air it out. This one is almost caught by Donaldson downfield. Kevin Whitley defending. That was a pretty good ball thrown by Stafford. It was Derwin Brewer who was the intended receiver, not Donaldson. There's Joe Ross. That is either like
right.
Greg Louganis.
You're absolutely right.
Augusta, Georgia. There he is again. There you get a pretty good look behind Joe Ross and his teammates of Alan Paulson Stadium here. It is a very nice 18,000 seat stadium. And incidentally, while we look at a 3rd down and longer, 3rd down and 10, got to make mention of the fact that the crowd here tonight, before the game got out of hand, was 16,000 people. And I want to tell you, that takes some nerve to sit out here in that.
But they love football here. It's a great football town.
16,449. Boy, I tell you, the town of Statesboro ought to take a bow tonight. Georgia Southern has asked for a timeout. Speaking of taking bows, I think our cameraman ought to take a bow too. Tim Two, Jimmy Reese, Vinny Fugit, Chris Rakoff, Terry Jones, Fig Newton. No, I'm not kidding. 2:35 left. 26-0. $26-0 in the rain in Statesboro. I don't know if this is Hugo, but if it's not, it's a reasonable facsimile. I'll tell you that.
I think this is you win.
That's right. Out of the I formation now. Dino Stafford at quarterback, 4th down. Nothing to do except this. And it is caught for a 1st down. Or are they saying it's incomplete? Might have said that ball hit the ground first. I believe it's ruled incomplete. Georgia Southern will take over. Dino Stafford looks like he's got a live arm.
Barry, now not everyone here is watching this football game and getting wet.
That's right.
See, we got some people here that are high and dry. Now they know how to watch a football game.
I want those seats.
Yeah.
Here is Raymond Gross. All right, Aunt Margaret.
You got the whole family in there.
Got it. And the quarterback now, Albert Huntley. He's a sophomore from Atlanta. And to give this time as wholesale substitutions in the ball game now for Georgia Southern. And I'll tell you, it is raining so hard. It is awfully hard to pick up numbers there. There's some of the numbers on Albert Huntley. That was Alonzo McGee, the ball carrier that time.
Barry, I think that the people who helped out with the lighting here really deserve kudos because, you know, as we mentioned before, not permanent lights here. The crew had to come in and set up these lights, and they did one heck of a job, and certainly under adverse conditions. So all of the technical people really deserve a real vote of thanks and some appreciation for the fine job they've done tonight and getting this telecast on.
I'll tell you, Dennis Baxter, Judy Sapp, Jay Paul, our audio mavens, as McGee gets the call again, gets it down about the 37-yard line. In the truck, Jeff Gowan, leaving the nest on his own. John Wildhack looking over his shoulder. Bruce Dumas, the engineer in charge. He is the guy that makes sure the gremlins stay out of the truck. And of course, the man that can get you one of anything you need, Ron Simeo. Drew Esikoff, Mishkilo Drew Esikoff, our director.
Barry, I see the first cuddle. We talked about how good this football field is. Been raining for hours. And right in back of the pool back there, the first sign of water on the field.
That really says something, because I mean, raining has been kind. We were supposed to get 8 to 10 inches of rain tonight.
Did you say there's 4 feet of sand?
4 feet of sand, and then 4 feet of rock below that. But even 4 feet of sand and 4 feet of rock is not going to absorb all the water that we've had. And that's how this person got here.
But look at this field. I'm amazed. I've never seen a football field that handles water the way this field is.
Really excellent. I'll say everything about the facility here at Georgia Southern, from the weight room to the locker rooms, the press box, to the coaching staff and the film room, is first class. Give it to McGee this time on second down. McGee gets down about the 16-yard line, showing a pretty good burst there. Well, a reminder that Bob Carpenter, Bino Cook, and Lee Corso will be with you starting at 11:30 on Saturday to tell you all about what's going to be happening on college football game day. And then we'll take you to the Midwest. Northwestern and Rutgers will play in that one. Wayne Larrabee will be on hand for that. That starts at 12:30. Then the battle for Eastern dominance, Syracuse and Pittsburgh. Two pretty good teams, really having a little bit of trouble getting started, but I think starting to get on track. That'll be the evening game beginning at 7 o'clock Eastern time. All happens this Saturday, college football game day. Out of the power I on third down, about 3. McGee gets the call, has the first down to about the 13-yard line, and time ticking down, and that probably will be the last play of the game. And Georgia Southern will run its record to 4 up and none down, and for Boots Donnelly, a bus ride back to Murfreesboro.
Well, you know, they came in here and they took on a very, very good football team, as you mentioned before, a team that's so well coached, and they certainly have reason to be proud of their performance tonight.
29 in a row for that man at Paulson Stadium. So an outstanding ball game here for them. They win it 26-0 for Gene Washington. I'm Barry Tompkins. Now let's take you back to Bristol and Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, a salute to the 16,400 plus fans who sat through that rain to watch most of the game. Georgia Southern winning it 26-0. Salute to our crew for putting up with it as well. Hurricane Hugo bearing down on the Georgia and South Carolina coast, estimated to hit, we're told now, at 2 a.m. Winds of 135 miles per hour off coast. This hurricane is a 4 on a scale of 5. It's the worst hurricane to threaten the coast of South Carolina and Georgia this century, we are told. Again, 2 a.m. So folks in that area, please take cover and seek inland ground if you can. That game, of course, the after effects of the hurricane could affect several games this weekend. Mississippi State and Georgia, Georgia Tech and South Carolina, Maryland and Clemson. Any game in that Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina area could be affected. Could see a lot more of the rainy weather this Saturday. Now, don't forget to get week 3 of the college football season started with Bino Cook, Lee Corso, and Bob Carpenter. Share a late breakfast with them. They'll be right here in this studio.
College football Saturday starts with College Game Day at 11:30 Eastern. They'll preview the top tilts of the day, starting with the battle for Beast of the East, Syracuse traveling to Pittsburgh.